I mean, in the 10 years that I've been in this industry, I've seen it improve quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it's still out there, so we need to. It still needs to be addressed. It's getting better, but with over the past year, 2 years, the number of women gun owners, female gun owners, has drastically.
Yeah, and I can talk about it too, because like, I don't know if it's just because I am a female or what it is, but like occasionally I'll walk into a class with 12 people and it'll be almost all like, it'll be 11 out of 12 people are all female in my classes, and I don't advertise them. And none of my classes besides my ladies group is all female. Like they're all co-ed. But like more often than not, I'll walk into a room and there'll be 12 ladies sitting there staring at me, and I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. You know, for not advertising it as an all women's class, we have a lot of people coming. Like that's a big need. At least in my community, it is. I'm sure it's the same across the states. So
yeah.
I could, if you're talking about the MMA stuff, I have my old, one of my old fight uniform things with my sponsor was actually my shooting sponsor. I had more shooting sponsors for my last fight than anyone else. Like, it was all shooting stuff. It wasn't all like fighting stuff. I could grab that if you wanted me to, but I don't really know if that's like people need to see.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, let me grab it real quick.
Yeah.
Does
MMA allow that? I guess they do, yeah. They're my heroes.
Yeah, I had Hollison, which is a target company. I had Axel, which you know who Axel is. I had sharpshooters, chiropractor, and then sharpshooters. Pretty sure there's still a little bit of like sweat and blood on that one, but.
So are you still doing the MMA?
I took a little bit of a break because like the fight camps. The reason I don't fight all the time is because the fight camps take like 6 hours of your day for 4 or 5 months, and right now I'm so heavy in the business that like I just don't have time to separate myself for that long to get in real fight camp.
We definitely want to talk about that because I'm into MMA. I like the MMA stuff.
Yeah,
I'm sure 100%. A lot of our listeners do as well.
Works for me.
Yeah. So, all right. I'm good. You good?
I'm good. Let's do it.
Did you put your vacuum up?
I did. See, it's not there anymore.
you even cleaned the house for me. I appreciate that.
I'm a super organized person. My house is usually clean, but I was like I need a black or white background or something.
You need to get you a little something like this. All right, lead heads, we are back with another episode of the Talking Lead podcast. I'm your host, Lefty, and we bring you the leducation here at Talking Lead. 10 years of leducating the unleducated, and we do a little more than that. So we hope that in this 10 years, and I know we've got several of you listeners that have been with us since the beginning, and we appreciate that, and we're picking up new listeners every day. So if you're a new listener to the podcast, welcome. And make sure you go back and check out our past episodes. I think there'll be something there that you definitely can connect with and will enjoy. Our last episode, I was trying to think what the last episode was we talked about the importance of knowing first aid and having some medical skills and kit and gear that you need to use. We did that with Medicine in Bad Places and Tom Kane. And Tom's been on the show. He's like his third time on. And Maddy, who's our guest today, Maddy, and is it Scholar or Scholar?
Scholar.
Scholar, okay. Because I made fun of, I thought you were teasing me with your last name last time. But
oh, no. I get it all the time, though. It's fine.
This is Maddy's second time on the show. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But make sure you go back and check out that episode. We had Thomas Kane and Sean Solar, his last name was Solar, getting all you scholars and solars and but it was a very informative, educational episode with those two guys. And make sure you go check out Medicine in Bad Places. I did that with him on the show too. I kept calling him Mission First Tactical. Because Mission First Tactical.
That is a company, though. Like, that actually is a company.
Well, they're one of our sponsors. So.
Yeah. I was just like, not too far off.
But Medicine in Bad Places. And use the code LEADHEAD. Sean extended this discount to you Leadheads exclusively. You're going to get 20% off any of their products there. And they've got some great pre-made IFAC kits that you can get there, and then they've got other things too. But 20% off anything at Medicine in Bad Places at their website. And it's all spelled out. .org is their website. So good episode. Go back and check that out. And then this episode, I wanted to focus more on the females in the industry, in the shooting industry, in the firearms industry, because of and it's exciting, it's not an alarming number, the increase in female firearms owners over the past 2-3 years due to the unrest, I guess, the civil unrest that we've experienced here in the United States. I think it's fabricated for the most part, this unrest. It's media and governmental fabricated unrest, but it definitely has stirred the pot, and I think made more men and women aware that having an alternative means of protection other than your local police department is viable, and it is definitely legal, which is why we have the Second Amendment. We have the Constitution, which no other country in the world has. And with what's going on in Ukraine right now, I think it speaks volumes to our forefathers in their foresight of needing such a thing to protect the citizenry of their country, of this country. So, Maddy, welcome in.
Thanks.
If you would, I don't think we had an opportunity the last time that you were on. We talked SHOT Show last time to really get into who you are and what you do. So give us an overview of what Maddy Dawg Training is all about, and Maddy Scholar herself.
Yeah. So right now I do full-time firearms instruction. I usually spend about 2 weeks out of the month traveling. I usually am either taking courses myself or I'm teaching somewhere else, something along those lines. So been running the business for about 2.5-3 years now, and I'm really enjoying it. I've gotten to see a lot of the country, and I've also gotten to meet a lot of really cool people. So yeah, that's what I've been doing full-time for a while now.
Yeah, we met down in Georgia at an event that was going on down there. Our mutual friend Jason over at Daniel Defense introduced us. Yeah. And I'm glad he did.
Yeah. 2 podcasts later.
It's been really cool knowing you. And we're going to find out more about Maddy coming up. But before we do that, you know what I hear, Maddy? I'm hearing that jackwagon train. It's rolling in. So we got some jackwagons we want to take care of. Gunny, bring that train in.
Hoorah, Semper Fi, do or die, hold 'em high at 8th and I. It is time for the talking lead jackwagon of the week, so brace yourself, baby.
All right, the train has stationed, and we want to take care of some jackwagons. Do you have a jackwagon, Maddy?
I don't have a personal jackwagon, but I know that you had talked about something prior to us recording.
Yeah, and I think this is going to probably be on everybody's list.
Yeah.
The President of the United States, Sleepy Joe, Let's Go Brandon, did a State of the Union address. Pretty boring for the most part. I sat through a little bit of it, didn't hear all of it. But I did hear the part about because I wanted to see if there was anything about gun control. If he was going to make a bold stand on coming after our firearms, our Second Amendment rights. And of course he did. He made a statement about it, but it wasn't a lot. It was nothing that we haven't heard in the past. But of course, Joe being Joe, things that come out of his mouth don't always make sense. So this comes from American Military News. It says Biden demands gun control in State of the Union address, and I'm going to read this. Just quick little thing here, and you'll see where I'm coming from. I think there's a bunch of memes. You said there's a bunch of memes. I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, I haven't had the chance to watch the State of the Union, but I did see a bunch of memes about deer and Kevlar, so I was kind of wondering about that.
Yeah, and I couldn't get the two jack wagons that were behind him during the whole thing with those fake smiles and expressions that Kamala could barely contain herself from like rolling her eyes and cracking, I guess, a smile when he would do his buffoonery statements. But this is one of them. In his first State of the Union address on Tuesday night, President Joe Biden once again called for more gun control, including bans on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, which we never hear the end of that. They're always bringing that up. I will keep doing everything in my power to crack down on gun trafficking and ghost guns you can buy online and make at home. They have no serial numbers and can't be traced, Biden said in his address, which is completely legal. There's nothing illegal about that. And there are already laws in place for people who abuse that. So,
yeah.
Anyway, I'll continue. I asked Congress to pass proven measures to reduce gun violence, pass universal background checks, which we already have. We have background checks. And as long as the government is doing their part, they work.
Right.
Why should anyone on a terrorist list be able to purchase a weapon? Why? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know that people on terrorist lists can buy
I don't know
weapons
about that.
to begin with. So I don't know that this is actually an issue. Ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines that hold up to 100 rounds. So up to, that would be 0 up to 100. Ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines that hold up to 100 rounds. What if they hold 200? Anyway. Then he goes on to say, you think the deer are wearing Kevlar vest? He asked.
That's where it came from. That's where the meme must have come from.
Yeah. So, again, in his disassociated mind from the real world and the way all these liberals are, they think the Second Amendment is about hunting. They think that it's just for hunters and that only hunters should have any sort of pew-pew to go hunting with. No one else needs one. And now they're saying, well, why would a hunter need a magazine that holds up to 100 rounds? Basically is what they're saying. Mm-hmm. Well, they don't. That's not what they're for. And the audacity of him to bring this up and say this, especially with what's going on in Ukraine right now. And it's just a prime example of what our Second Amendment is for, because other countries don't have, like I said, a constitution. They don't have a constitution like the United States. They don't have a Second Amendment. They don't have all these guaranteed rights of citizens, which ours is one, to be able to defend ourselves against domestic and foreign enemies, which is what Ukraine is experiencing right now. There is a foreign entity that is invading their home, and had their citizens been, and they had in Ukraine, they had some sort of system set up to where you could own a gun, but it's more like in New York type thing, where only you had to prove you needed it and all these other stipulations and whatnot, and they had to be kept in their house and locked up, and they could only use them under certain circumstances. So it wasn't like they could carry them,
right,
day in and day out to be able to protect themselves. But then they changed that law. Their Congress went in and said, oh yeah, everyone can now possess a firearm, and all the gun stores there have sold out, which I don't know why they're making them go buy their guns. Why don't they just give them and provide them guns to be able to help fight? Because I've seen pictures and I've seen some videos and articles where they are issuing some citizens firearms, and they're going through a training process also and showing them how to use those. And I'm sure as soon as
that came out, I think of people like showing each other how to train and stuff, and kind of combining knowledge on that aspect of it. So
yeah, but again, it's it's reactive instead of being proactive.
right.
And here in America, we have that ability right now to be proactive before something like this happens. We can own firearms, and we can go out and we can take training courses, and we're able, depending on what state you're in, we can carry firearms to protect ourselves day in and day out from evil.
Yeah.
And the measures that these liberal gun grabbers are trying to put out there are nonsensical, putting laws on top of laws that already exist that we don't need, and things that don't work. Again, these ghost guns, that they call ghost guns. They make that out to be this huge problem, an issue in America where there's people in their garage that are just manufacturing these guns and then just distributing them out to and selling them to anyone and everyone, but they're not.
Right.
They found a very minute percentage of these firearms that have been used in crimes, that have been seized from criminals. But they shouldn't be able to track our firearms anyway. There should be no way to trace them to us anyway. Yeah, that's ridiculous, because when a foreign government does come in, they're going to go to that registry and they're going to find everybody who has guns, and they're going to go to them and either kill them or take their weapons from them.
I think also too, in addition to firearms, I think America is very proactive when it comes to the Second Amendment, but we also need to also think about the other prepping stuff like food, water, supplies, batteries, energy sources and stuff like that we're a little bit less proactive on.
Yeah.
Because we see what happens in Ukraine. Yes, they need firearms and stuff now, but also those people need food. So that's also, as a society, something we should also start walking towards as well, is a little bit more prepping on the back end side of it too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with
that
that
all
100%.
Together, yeah.
But also, just like our last episode, something that you're going to need far more often and is going to come in a lot more handy is medical knowledge and training. And so that, needs to be top of everyone's list.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's my jack wagon. Everybody knows Sleepy Joe is on the jack wagon train. Ban assault weapons, high-capacity magazines that hold up to 100 rounds. You think the deer are wearing Kevlar vest? It's just so how out of touch and how protected and isolated these people are from the real world. It's astonishing. Let's see. Repeal the liability shield that makes gun manufacturers the only industry in America that can't be sued. He made that statement also. These laws don't infringe on the Second Amendment. They save lives. How does that save lives? By suing a gun manufacturer. That's like suing a peanut butter company for somebody who choked on eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But on the last episode, we did talk about that a little bit with the Remington, the Sandy Hook Remington lawsuit. Was it Remington or Winchester? It was Remington.
I think it was Remington, because my mind went to that when you said it. Yeah.
So, and we talked about that briefly in the last episode, and they were trying to sue Remington. And of course, it didn't go to court, or it was thrown out of court. Remington didn't lose this case, but their insurance company decided to settle out of court. So settling out of court doesn't mean that you're guilty or anything like that. Again, I kind of went through some of the reasons as to why they would do this. But I had an email, and I want to find this email. This is from Leadhead Joe. And let me find it. Remington Insurance Settlement. It says, the Remington case never went to court. Remington isn't paying a dime. Well, they kind of are, because they do pay the insurance companies. Okay? So let's get that straight. Remington wasn't found responsible in court. Instead, its insurers settled the case without explanation. Insurance companies do this all the time, and I realize that, and that's what we talked about in the last episode. It says, Connecticut journalist Chris Powell describes it below, and he sent me a link here. And I'll just click on it here. It says, Newtown dumps democracy and Lamont worsens scandal. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but whatever you think about guns, this month's $73 million lawsuit settlement paid by the insurers of the former Remington gun manufacturing company to the families of victims of the 2012 school massacre in Newtown is based on a false premise pursuing an unconstitutional objective. Federal law exempts firearm manufacturers from liability from criminal misuse of their products. The Second Amendment establishes the right of the people to own guns. So how could Remington be responsible for the massacre in Newtown? The company wasn't found responsible in court. Instead, its insurers settled the case without explanation. Excuse me. So who knows what their reasoning was? You'll have to get in touch with them and find out. I just speculated that instead of going through all these court battles and the millions, it would probably cost them more than $73 million to continue, I guess, with the lawyers and all that. So they just decided to settle, I would assume. I don't know. That's my theory on it. This says the theory of the plaintiffs was that Remington violated Connecticut's Unfair Trade Practices Act with its advertising for the rifle used in the massacre. Advertising that was said to have appealed to disturb young men like the massacre's perpetrator. But there's no evidence that the perpetrator ever saw any Remington advertising. Instead, he didn't even purchase the rifle. This was done by his mother, who, despite her son's long-standing mental illness, there's a key factor there in most of these mass shootings, mass murders, took him target shooting and built his interest in guns. On the murderous day, he stole her rifle and made her his first victim, which he killed his mother. He stole the gun and killed his mom. Of course, the plaintiffs themselves don't believe that Remington's advertising caused the massacre. They were not seeking to regulate gun ads, but to close down the entire gun industry, which is true. When the settlement was announced, co-plaintiff Nicole Hockley was candid about it. She said that the lawsuit and settlement had shown gun makers, their insurers, and their bankers that this is a high-risk market. It is not profitable, and you will be held accountable. Which they can't under that, was it the unfair trade practices? Not the unfair trade practice, but the other one that I said that protects firearms companies. Deprive any industry of its bankers and insurers, and it will go out of business or go underground. When the gun industry goes out of business or underground, the Second Amendment will have been nullified without any democratic decision of the people and the states to repeal or modify it. You know, and that's what we're seeing a lot of, like with these PayPals and some of these credit card companies that won't allow a gun manufacturer or a gun seller, anything related to the firearms industry, to use their services to collect money. And now I think some of the banks are involved with this also. This MyPillow guy, have you heard of Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy? It's like even the banks are not allowing him to do business or anything. And he's not even firearms related. He's just a pro-Constitution, pro-America kind of guy. Pro-capitalism. Everyone sympathizes with the families of the massacre victims. Many people support enacting more restrictive gun laws, which is not going to do anything. Like the Newtown plaintiffs, some people would even repeal the Second Amendment and confiscate all guns in private hands. But if the Newtown plaintiffs get their way, they will destroy not only the gun industry, but democracy as well. And we're seeing a lot of that going on right now, not just the firearms industry, but anything or anyone that has an opposition to a socialist, liberal agenda. And it's worsening every day. We see this. So we have to fight back, and we have to say enough is enough. And we do that by our elected officials, right? So you have to be very careful in who you vote for. And it starts in your local elections. It starts at the grassroots and works its way up.
Yep.
So in your city and county and state elections, that's where, it really makes the difference. You got to start there and then work our way up. So there's a little, I guess, clarity on last week's jack wagon, but there you go. And thank you, Joe, for sending that. I appreciate it. And then Joe also recommended, and I was trying to get her on with us today, Maddy, was that we have, where's it out here? He said, by the way, do you know how many gun owners belong to the Connecticut Gun Rights Association? There's 45,000. And the president of the Connecticut Citizens Defense League, who has the 45,000 members and growing, her name is Holly Sullivan. And we were going to try to get Holly on with you today, but her schedule wouldn't allow it. So maybe we'll get Holly on in an upcoming episode. Yeah. So good email there, Joe. Also, Salt Pork, I think is his Instagram name or something like that. But we appreciate that, and we like to hear from all you leadheads. So if you've got a comment on maybe something in a past show that we discussed or something that you want us to discuss, talkinglead@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. If you've got jackwagon nominations, if you've got Leadhead Brigade heroes that you want to nominate, send those to us, talkinglead@gmail.com.
Hey, Leadheads, Dwight Settle with Seal 1. Just here to talk to you and tell you a little bit about our product. Seal 1 CLP Plus is a bio-based, non-toxic product. It comes in a paste, liquid, aerosol, and pre-saturated bore-specific patches called sealskins. They all do the same thing, just different methods of application. The best way to use our product is to start with a clean firearm. There's two reasons why I say that. First, you start with the Seal 1 CLP Plus by field stripping your firearm and covering the entire firearm inside and out, bore, barrel, everything with the Seal 1 CLP Plus. You'll see how easy it spreads around. You'll want to wait about 15 to 20 minutes. Then you come back and you want to wipe it all off. So you see how easy it is to put on and remove. And the second reason we say to use a clean firearm is you'll find that it's not clean. We're going to pull out more carbon that's been left behind with whatever product you've been using before. Okay, it takes about 3 cleanings, so I like to say a clean shoot, clean shoot, clean shoot, just normal usage before the Seal 1 CLP Plus has removed whatever product that you were using before and has seasoned the firearm. It's kind of like breaking in a cast iron skillet. And after that first cleaning, you will notice a difference. And with each successive cleaning, you will find that it gets easier and easier to clean. Seal 1 CLP Plus is a dry lubricant and is designed to work as such. You will find that malfunctions are virtually eliminated when used properly because the majority of all malfunctions are caused to carbon buildup. And with the Seal 1 CLP Plus, the carbon does not build up. Seal 1 CLP Plus is safe on all metals, plastics, composites, polymers, rubber, wood, and leather. Seal 1 CLP Plus is a one-and-done formulation. No other products are required or needed to clean and lubricate and protect your firearm. That's why we say Seal 1 and done. Seal 1 is a proud sponsor of the Talking Lead podcast and the Leadhead Brigade. Use the code LEADHEAD for a 25% off discount.
What about heroes, Maddy? You got any heroes that you want to put on the Lead Force 1?
Yeah, so I guess for my heroes is definitely, I guess it's kind of a good lead into the Red Letter Project, but basically this new branch of my business / this new project we've been working on, we have a couple sponsors that I would definitely like to kind of shout out, I guess.
Give them a shout out, yeah. Hell yeah.
Got some props over here.
So for our video audience, you'll be able to see this.
Yeah, so you can see them, or you can look up on Instagram, of course. The first one is Handle It Grips. I don't know if anybody out there uses these, but I put them on every single gun I possibly own.
I've never heard of it. What are they about?
So basically what they are is you can either get rubber, sandpaper, or this new edge grip. It's like a combination of both, basically.
Yeah.
It gives you a little bit more stability with your firearm. Basically, it gives you some dexterity in the hands.
Oh, okay.
I like the sandpaper. It's a bit aggressive on the hands if you're not used to it. But it is amazing, and I love their products.
So it's like an adhesive that you would put over your pistol or your rifle grip.
Yeah, so it like sticks. You basically take off the backing. It's like a sticker, and then you put it on the gun, blow it with a hairdryer real quick, and then you're good to go. And they last a long time.
Yeah.
I think I put at least 10,000 rounds through one of the Glocks I own that has the sandpaper grip on it, and the grip is like still intact and still works totally fine. So it's a lot of wear on it, but
I like that. That's like an alternative to stippling your grip, kind of.
It is. I actually like it better because I feel like stippling over long periods of time sometimes wears down. This stuff, like you just peel it off.
It does. It like polishes after a while because of all the rub. You polish it and it gets slick again, and then.
Exactly, and it's permanent too. So like if you want to change the color or you want to change the style of it, like I think they're like $20-$25 online, and they're great. I love this company, and they sent me a few that had, it was Maddy Dawg edition. I don't know if you can see it on the thing.
Yeah, look at that. Look at you.
I thought that was so cool.
Get your own product. I like that.
Yeah, and you see the sparkles? They're so pretty. It's like rainbow, but
so it looks like sandpaper to me.
It is. Well, I guess you can't really see it in the picture, but they're sparkly. I like it.
Okay.
Another sponsor we have is Steel City Ammo. They're a local ammo company up north, and they make some great stuff. They were nice enough to supply us for the weekend of the retreat with ammunition for myself and the other instructors, so we're pretty excited about that.
Very cool. And we're going to talk about this retreat, so...
Yeah, we are, so hang tight on that.
Hang tight. We'll give you details about
this.
Next up,
we got KGM, just to make sure everybody knows my gun is clear. KGM makes suppressors, and they also make really cool SIG triggers. I've been running this one for, I guess, it's about 8-9 months now, and I absolutely love it. So if you have a SIG 320, that's my go-to. That's what I recommend. But they will be giving out a couple of the triggers out at the retreat coming up in May.
Hold that back up. What light are you using there?
This is a Surefire X300.
So you're using the Surefire X300 on your what? Talk about your gun there.
So this is my Icarus. It has Icarus frame, Icarus slide, with a delta point on the very top. But yeah, I've been running this gun for a while, and I love it.
What is an Icarus?
Icarus is they make metal frames for SIGs.
Yeah, so that's a modded SIG. Was that a P22?
This is a 320. Technically,
that's a 320. Okay.
Frankenstein 320. Yeah.
Okay, it is Frankenstein. She's got a lot of mods on that thing. Talk about all the mods you got going on there.
Well, pretty much the only mods is really the Icarus frame. It has the regular SIG guts in it, KGM trigger, Icarus slide, and then that's pretty much the only thing that's different about it. But
everything. Yeah. So everything's different. So you got the
yeah.
You've got the weight cuts there in the slide. You got the slide cuts.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it has the magwell, like the magwell is
flared magwell.
It's got the finger cuts, which is really nice. Normally on my guns, I stipple that out anyway. Like I stipple in an undercut there.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little bit nicer, and then it's got the big beaver tail in the back as well.
Yeah, so nothing really modified on it at all. For everything. It's not even.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking what gun is that, because it doesn't look like a SIG 320.
It's a bougie SIG. It's basically like the engine's the same though. The inside guts are the same. I didn't change that. So
yeah. I don't have I was doing some rearranging, and I don't have any of my firearms right here handy. Other than I did get I got myself a new DD M4 V7.
Hey, there you go.
Upper.
Okay.
So that's nice. I'm looking forward to trying that out. I haven't shot it yet. So
yeah. Boys over at Daniel, give them a shout out too.
I'm going to do that this weekend. I'm going to take this out and put some rounds through it and see how. I've never owned a Daniel Defense before, so I'm excited to try it out.
I've been running mine for I got one of those. It's funny, so many people give me crap for it, but I've always wanted a quad rail. Like I just love the look at it. The old school look is super cool to me, and I'm super tiny, so like the regular quad rail is like way too big for my hands, and they came out with this slimline modification of it. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was probably a while ago, but one came through the shop that I usually like teach at, and I just picked it up. I grabbed it. I was like, I'm totally buying this, and I absolutely love it. And it's way too like the size is way too. It's too much for me as a like small shooter, but I've been running it for a while and just kind of getting used to it and having fun with it. So it's been my fun.
Is it
too
too wide, too thick, or is it too long?
No, so it's a 16-inch, so it's a little bit too long. Like practically, like I probably need something a little bit smaller. But I just love the feel of the quad because it does fit my hands. It's a lot thinner. It's basically like that same rail that you have, just with the quad around it, which is nice. Yeah. And then also too, one more sponsor for you.
Yeah.
Safe Life Defense. Yeah, I got their Safe Life T-shirt on, roughing it out, and then they make really good body armor. This is their FRAS. It's like It's a little bit flexible. This is actually a backpack plate, so you can put it in your kid's backpack. You can put it in your work backpack, wherever you want to, and it just fits nicely in there so that you can use it in case of like an active shooter or something happens.
And they sell to civilians?
Yes, they do, and they make quite a bit of stuff for police officers. They have like their police line, then they have like concealed carry body armor, backpack armor, and they came out with this really cool thing called I think it's called Hyperline from Safe Life. I don't know if you want to look it up on your screen share. But it's super thin, and when they actually like start producing them, when they start producing them, I'm going to get one and use that as my like daily, like as I'm teaching vest, just to put under like a jacket or something, because it's so thin and light that you can actually do that on an everyday carry style. So I'm pretty excited for that to come out.
Let's see. Safe Life Defense. I'm pulling this up now.
Yep.
Let me do a little screen share here. Thanks for reminding me, because I forget sometimes that I can.
So super thin, super light. You can actually wear it like under a jacket or something like that, so it's not like super obvious.
Yeah.
For me, I want it because when I train big classes and stuff, I don't want to look like, have that super aggressive look to intimidate. Like I don't want to intimidate any of the women in my classes. So that's just kind of something that's going to protect me, but also not be super obvious to everybody in the room.
Yeah. And the reason I asked, do they sell to civilians, because some of these armor companies will not sell to civilians. Yeah. And they're thinking that they're protecting police officers by doing that, which is ridiculous mentality. It's stupid, because they're not, because there are other companies that can sell it, and criminals can get their hands on body armor if they want it. Majority of them don't use it anyway, because they can't afford it. But by not selling to civilians, you're not solving any problem for police officers whatsoever. It's just like saying, Glock, we're not going to sell to civilians because they could use that gun against, our police officers. Mm-hmm. Stupid mentality. Stupid. And companies that are doing that, I think you're ridiculous. Companies like Safe Light, hey, you're a hero. I definitely will put them on the Leadhead Brigade Hero, Lead Force 1. So.
Yeah, and they're great guys that work out there. Manny over there is awesome, and his whole team is great. They're super cool. They answer any questions you have about the body armor, and they also have a pretty good social media page. So I definitely also recommend following all of them: KGM, Handle It, Steel City, Safe Life, all of them on Instagram. They post some good stuff.
Very cool. We'll stop sharing there. So yeah, all those guys, great companies, and they're supporting and sponsoring the Red Letter Project that Maddy is. We're going to talk about that just coming up. Any other heroes? Any other jack wagons come to mind before we wrap this? I don't think I've got any listener submitted ones at this point in time. So
one last sponsor is Open Sight Studios. They were the ones that made my graphic for Red Letter Project. So they came on board as a sponsor, and they helped me out with like the marketing side of it. So I appreciate them, and 10-4 Visuals as well. They did some of my videoing too.
Yeah, and hold up that grip stuff. What's the name of that grip company? Because I want to check in it, because I do like those kind of grips. Also, I got this for my slides, for my Glock slides. There's a company that makes some that's similar to that you can put on the slide to get a better grip on your slide too.
Yeah, so actually this company, it's called Handle It Grips. So my Icarus, they don't have a model yet that fits it. So if you have a gun that they don't have a design for yet, what I do is I actually order like $7 skateboard tape or non-slip tape on Amazon, and I just piece off what I need. So you can see on both sides, I have like just a little bit of skateboard tape on there, and that's temporary until they can get the model up for the Icarus version, which they're working on right now. For those of you that have Icarus,
you could just take that and cut that and put that on there.
Yeah, you could. You could definitely. And actually, I don't want to speak for them. I don't know if they're for sure doing it. It was just we had a conversation about it. So,
Yeah.
like I said, I don't want to throw them under the bus, but I think they're gonna hopefully make an Icarus grip at some point, which would be really good.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, so let's talk about Maddy Dawg Training, what it is that you do, because the statistics are showing, we were talking about the rise in female gun owners,
Mm-hmm.
and there's been some statistics to say, like, it's up 43% from years previous. Some other rough numbers is that there are 80 million firearms have been purchased in the U.S. over the last 5 years. And in 2001, they're saying 5.4 million firearms were bought by first-time buyers, and roughly a third of them being women. So a third of 5.4 million is what? Do the math.
I don't know, but that's a lot.
So like over a million.
Yeah.
And what was that noise? Did you hear that noise?
I did not.
There was like a weird noise, like somebody joined our Skype, or
We've been hacked.
I think we may have.
Wait, seriously?
That was a weird noise.
Huh.
I don't know. But maybe. That being said, and I think a lot of these are probably panic buys, and people are just going out and, oh my gosh, all these riots, all these civil unrest and mobs and, all this that are happening. I need to get a firearm to protect myself.
Well, going back to the prepping talk, like, same thing happened with toilet paper, same thing happened with food. Like, I remember when I was living in England, when coronavirus broke out, we went to the grocery store, like, the morning it all happened, and there was nothing out there. And I know it's the same here in the U.S. as well. But it's just like the panic buying, I think, for the first year this all happened was really, really bad. And then it's just kind of trickled out since then.
Yeah. And this says that of those 5.4 million new first-time gun buyers, nearly half of them, so not quite half of them, signed up for training, some sort of training.
Yeah,
that's
good.
Well,
it's important that they're getting training, but
what
about
it
the other
is,
half?
and that's my point. Is you got all these first-time, never bought one. Not to say that they hadn't had one, because you don't necessarily have to.
Yeah.
And they're tracking the way they're tracking this is through that, through the NICS, through all the background checks that they do, and the ones that were approved, and then the people ended up buying the guns. That's not to say that because it's perfectly legal, that if I wanted to sell my neighbor a firearm, I could do that. Mm-hmm. Now, it's up to me, and it's my liability and responsibility on if that, that's someone who can own one legally, right, because I could be held accountable for that. Mm-hmm. But it's up to the person to do that. And so it's not accounting for those numbers either. So there, it's probably a lot more than that. Definitely a lot more than that. But the fact that almost half signed up for training, that's it's a positive thing for me, because I was think that number would have been a lot lower.
Yeah, me too. I figured it'd be like a fourth or something like that.
Yeah. But, and a lot of these are probably single women who aren't relying on a male to protect them. That's kind of been the mentality of some of the females is, well, my boyfriend or my husband or my dad, can take care of that. But I think more and more realization is that, well, he's not always with me.
Yeah, definitely.
And I need to take some personal responsibility. So I think the level of personal responsibility in females has increased. And that's a good thing. That's a positive thing, because everyone needs to take personal responsibility for their own protection. And training is part of that, and that's what you offer. And your classes aren't just for females, but you do offer classes that are geared towards and specifically for females.
So the way I do my classes is the actual group classes are all co-ed, so anybody can sign up. What happens though is, like I think I was mentioning to you before, A lot of times I'll walk into the room of 12, like a class of 12 people, and 11 out of 12 of them be female, and it's not advertised as a women's only class. So I think that speaks a lot to, how like those statistics that you're talking about, a lot of women are going out and buying guns. And I think that's really important. But no, I don't categorize them just as women's only classes, but I do have a ladies group that, we've built up over the past couple of years. It's gotten to the point where I think we have about 120 or so members in it now.
Mm-hmm.
What we do is we actually meet up once a month at my house to do a Bible study. And then the week after we meet up at the range and do a shooting meeting. So it's like kind of combine those things, but we just rotate the women out. Like it's first come, first serve, basically first 30 get it every month. And it's a really healthy group because a lot of them train a lot more because they have friends that do it as well now.
Yeah. And I think we're probably seeing a lot more women in these classes as well, because women are more, I guess, self-aware than men, and don't have that, I don't need instructions on how to put this thing together. I know how to use a gun. I
don't need directions.
Right, exactly. And, and women are kind of they're different. They're more realistic, and it's like, okay, here's something, a huge responsibility that I'm taking on.
Right.
And I need to know not only how to use it, but, other type scenarios where safety and law and all that come into play.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that, that's a good thing too. And maybe a lot of men can learn from the women by this, is like, even if you think you know everything there is to know about using a firearm and self-defense, you don't.
There's always something to learn. Like
always.
No matter how many classes you take, no matter how long you've been training for, there is always something to learn. You're never going to get all the knowledge that you possibly can.
Yeah, and never get complacent.
Right.
That's when accidents happen.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So you're based out of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Down there in what area of Georgia are you in?
So I teach mostly out of Alpharetta.
In the Alpharetta. And do you travel around?
Yeah, I travel quite a bit. Usually, lately it's been like 2 weeks out of the month I've been gone. So this month I'm going to Louisiana, Vegas, and then at the end of the month I will be going, I think, back up to South Carolina, something like that. Okay. But I teach mostly in Georgia.
I got you. And the name of that range that you're at,
Sharpshooters. So Sharpshooters is a huge indoor range in the Atlanta area, and they do a really good job of allowing us to train there, and they have a really nice facility, and they've been really good to me.
Sharpshooter USA Indoor Shooting Range, Firearms. I think this is the right website. I'm going to pull it up on my screen here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you, because there you are. That's got to be them. Because Maddy's on there. Start sharing. Boom.
Yep, that's them.
There it is. Now, if somebody wants to sign up for your class, is it under the calendar? Where do they go to sign up? Or do you have your own website?
So either my website or Sharpshooter's website, you can go to training on that tab right there and go down to classes. If you want to take a group class, you can kind of go down there and figure out which ones I teach and which ones. Most basically, I teach all their pistol stuff at Sharpshooters, with the exception of maybe like 1 or 2 classes. But yep, the way I do my classes is basically I have 4 main, like long 4 to 5 hour classes. And then each one of those longer classes coincides with 3 mini classes, and those mini classes are designed to form like repetition and through muscle memory or muscle memory through repetition, and really give people the chance to actually practice what they learned in the class. Because in my experience, a lot of people will go take a bigger class and then not really know how to practice those things outside on their own. So we kind of solve that problem by making those mini classes that are just, like I said, straight repetition. They're like an hour long, super cheap, so people can take them over and over again if they need the extra help. But yeah, that's how we usually run our group classes there.
Okay, very good. What I was going to ask was, and we're going to talk about this, you've got a retreat that you're doing. It's a women's only. I would assume it's a women's only, right?
Yeah.
Okay, retreat. It's called the Red Letter Project Women's Retreat. You're going to be doing this February the 28th.
So that's the day I think Kevin posted the blog. If you go up to the actual Red Letter Project website, it'll be at the end of May.
Here it is. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So this is the Red Letter Project, and I think this is awesome that you're doing this because, again, in those settings, I mean, even men too. When you got co-ed classes, you won't necessarily come out of your shell and maybe ask the questions or do the things that you would do if you weren't around either a female or a male.
Right.
Because it could be intimidating either way. Because the the men are macho and all this, and maybe they would be a little less if they did a male only.
Right, and it's a little bit more relatable. Like body size and body type is definitely a thing.
Yep.
Experiences in the past, like fears that people have. Like if you can relate to somebody else, that it helps a lot. I think, especially with something as nerve-wracking as firing a gun for the first time.
Yeah, and that, and body differences, as well. There are things. So talk about your Red Letter Project, how this came about and what it's all about.
Yeah, so Red Letter Project is basically what it's going to end up being is it's a huge women's retreat. We're going to allow 30 people to come to the actual retreat. We're going to open up applications here in a few weeks for people to apply to it. What it's going to be is a weekend of just training, practical knowledge, and also it's faith-based. It's a women's retreat. It's going to last about, we're going to have a 2-day event. Women can fly in from anywhere in the country if they want to come. It's going to be, the first one's going to be held up in Sawmill Training Center up in South Carolina. Basically, I asked
what is Sawmill?
So Sawmill is a big outdoor training facility up in Lawrence, South Carolina. And this retreat is actually going to be pretty much all-inclusive besides ammunition because they have lodging on site. They have catered meals, everything like that. So it's really nice. It's almost like a total getaway from everyday life.
Yeah, well, it sounds like also it's like self-contained, so everybody is there together the whole time. So when you're finished, you don't, everybody doesn't go to their own hotel room, wherever that may be, or whatever. You're still there, and people can interact. So it sounds like it's a relationship builder as well.
Yeah, definitely. And we're planning on so it's going to be a big retreat weekend, right? So every night we're there, we're planning on having a Bible study. We're planning on having a campfire going and catered meals. And then we're also going to do some hand-to-hand combatives at night. We're just going to an informal session. So we're going to kind of fit that in there, build some relationships. All the women are going to stay together in the lodge. So I think it's 3 per room or something like that. But they're really nice. They have running water, full nice bathrooms, full living room area. And it's going to be cool.
Sounds like they got a kitchen and kind of all that kind of stuff, everything, huh? But you're going to do more than just firearms training, it sounds like. So you're going to be doing some hand-to-hand, combative, defensive. You're going to be doing the firearm defensive training. You're going to do pistol and rifle on this?
So I'm going to be teaching my pistol portion. I've contracted out some other instructors to do vehicle dynamics, in a practical application setting. I've also gotten one of our guys to do medical stuff. Yeah, so Matt from Strategic Dynamics will be doing the vehicle portion of it, as well as he's going to help me with the hand-to-hand combat part. And then Robbie from Sawmill is going to be doing the medical portion, and he's also going to throw in some survival kind of tactics stuff in there too. Nice. I thought it was really important because a lot of women come in with, they have kids or they have a family, or even if it's just them and they travel or something like that. I realized when I started running my ladies group, a lot of women didn't know the basic medical knowledge that I thought was super important and necessary for having a family. So I wanted to put that in there as a practical application. What were to happen if you were in a car crash with your family and you needed to bandage up your kid or something like that? So we're going to talk about tourniquets and chest seals and just very basic medical knowledge.
That plays perfect on our last episode. We talked in detail about some of this stuff with Medicine in Bad Places, Sean Solar and Thomas Kane in our last episode. What do you think are because that's what we taught is what are the key essential medical skills that everybody should know?
Right. So I think, first of all, you should know how to pack a med kit. So an IFAC. At the Red Letter Project, what's included in the course fees is actually we're going to give North American Rescue IFACs out. So everybody has one.
Very nice.
So I think it's important to know what to have, and everything in that IFAC you need to know how to use.
Yes.
Even if you don't have your IFAC on you, how to make a makeshift tourniquet or something like that, just so that if something were to happen, you're not on your own.
Yeah. Well, and that's we talked about that is you shouldn't pack a kit with something that you don't know how to use. So your med kit, your IFAC kit should be relative to your skills.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if you don't know how to use a tourniquet, don't put a tourniquet in it. You know,
Right.
But you should learn how to use a tourniquet.
Right. You should learn how to use it. If you do happen to have one on you, though, and there is somebody there that knows how to use it, that is a good thing to have, I guess.
That's true. That's true. Even if you don't know how, if you had one, someone there may know how, and it would come in. That's a good point. That's a great point.
Right. But being capable is actually, so if you scroll down on that page, we have a few of our core values up there. And the reason I put the word capable up there is because I think a lot of, at least in my experience, a lot of people in general want to be very independent. Like everybody likes to be independent,
Sure.
but having certain capabilities is what makes you independent. It's not only a mindset of being independent. It's also like pairing that with certain skills. So like medical skills, that's super important to be capable. Learning how to protect yourself and not only using a weapon, but also how to use your hands if you don't have your weapon. That's like, kind of goes towards being capable as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Being present, a powerful presence. That's being aware of your surroundings, knowing what's around you, the situation that you may be going into, turning around and leaving that situation. That way you don't have to use any of this other stuff. That's
right.
that's like number one is be aware of your surroundings and don't put yourself in a situation unless it's absolutely necessary.
Right, because we can teach you hand-to-hand combatives all day, but the best thing to do is learn the warning signs and leave before you have to use those combatives, right? Like that's the goal, is to never ever have to even put yourself in a position where you rely on those things.
Yeah.
Because they might not work.
That's true. That's true. Now you said this is it's faith-based, but someone that attends this doesn't have to necessarily be religious, right? So talk
Right.
about that.
Yeah, so I'm very open about my religion, my Christianity. I don't view religion as a religion. I view it as a relationship. So if anybody wants to, it's open to everybody. You do not have to be a Christian to come attend. However, if you want to come with an open mind, you might discover something new, and our goal is to create Christian fellowship, but also create relationships between people. So I think it's much more than just a shooting event. It's also like a community-based event that also might, steer somebody on a different path in life.
But you're not pushing that on anyone. And like you said, you have these studies in the evenings after the courses, but you probably will do them in the morning before too as well. But they don't have to take part in that part of it.
No, you don't have to. It's totally optional.
Yeah.
So that's just
and they're not going to be judged for not doing that.
Not going to be judged. No, this is something that we offer because it's important to us. Like in my ladies group, I talked about a little bit earlier, we have a monthly Bible study. None of our ladies are required to go to that though. So it's an option if you want it. You don't have to attend if you don't want to, but it's going to be there if you do want to.
And definitely for those that are Christian, this is ideal for you. This would be a great, is it a weekend? How many days is this?
So it's going to be 2 nights and 2 days. So basically people fly in on Friday night and then stay there till Sunday afternoon. And we have a lot planned during that weekend. So hopefully we want to have check-in pretty early, I think in the afternoon on Friday. So it's going to be, a pretty long weekend.
Okay. And the cost is $600. You check in the 27th. I'm sorry?
600 plus whatever ammunition you need to bring.
So bring your own ammo.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume, let's just talk about that. So kit and gear that they're going to need to bring themselves. You're not going to supply the firearms?
No. So if you scroll down just a little bit, a more detailed list will come out to those who have applied and got accepted later on, closer to May. But for the most part, you're just going to need your range stuff like a semi-automatic pistol, a gun belt. You can either run outside the waistband or concealed carry. I'm not going to tell you which one. We want to make sure everybody has
You need to bring the way that you're going to carry every day. Yeah. So if you carry out of the waistband, you carry in the waistband. If you don't carry in a holster, on your body, and you carry in a bag, I guess you probably still would need to get you a holster because you're not going to train coming out of the bag, right?
Yeah, still need a holster because we're going to be working on a little bit of performance-based stuff too. So just practical skills with a firearm. Some magazines, eye and ear protection. I would like everybody to, make sure that they have a flashlight of some degree. If they have a shot timer, great. If not, it's optional. And then, we'll like I said, I'll send out a more detailed list closer to time. But
most people aren't going to have a shot timer. They're not going to have an easy loader.
Yeah.
I mean, some people may or may not have a flashlight, but that is definitely a piece of kit that you want to have as your EDC. So as a responsible firearms owner, not necessarily one on your, because you said handheld, not on your weapon, not a weapon light.
Right, a handheld light. I prefer that over a weapon mounted light, but either one works. That's fine.
Yeah, but it's cool. And if you have questions about the kit or gear that you may need, or maybe you don't have and you need to get it, you can email Maddy, and she can give you some recommendations on what to get, where to get it, and then maybe if they might be able to supply some of this stuff. But ammo, you definitely need to bring your own ammo, and you need to get it now before there's a run on ammo again, and it's in even shorter supply than it is right now. So,
right.
Now, is that something that you guys can? Do you have ammo? Can they buy it from the range and have them keep it there for them?
So we are still figuring that out. I think between sharpshooters and Sawmill, I know that we carry ammo. Now, how we get that to them, we're still working out the kind of logistics of that, but it'll be finalized here within the next few weeks, I'm sure.
Okay, very good. And when is this going to be open for people that they can go, and our lady listeners can go and register and sign up for this course?
So basically how we're running it is for the next month or so, we're going to be doing some marketing and just making sure that we get the word out there. Because like I said, it's an all-encompassing women's event. It isn't just shooting. It's included in like medical stuff, just relationship bonding, community building is more kind of like the goal we're shooting for, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll be marketing for the next 3 weeks or so. Then we're going to open up applications on March 22nd. We're going to have those open for 2 weeks. And during those 2 weeks, anybody can apply. And then after that, we'll feed through the applications, kind of just look at, pick out a few people of the people that applied, and then let you guys know within a week.
Very good. And the website is theredletterproject.com. It's all spelled out, where you can go get the additional information, and that's where you would go to sign up when it opens up. And then I guess through there they can also contact you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can also contact me.
Make sure you go check out that website, theredletterproject.com. If you've got questions, there's a contact us link there. And the Red Letter Project, how did you come up with that name? What is that? What does that mean?
So I got the name from...
Is that a soccer term?
What's that?
Isn't that what you get in soccer? You get a red letter for...
I have no idea.
A penalty
so
or
Red
something?
Letter Project, the name came from basically like anytime you open up the Bible, the words that Jesus actually spoke are always written in red letters. So that's where we got the name from. There's
Is
a couple
that like
songs
in every Bible? Is every Bible that way?
I don't know. I mean, like, I'm sure not every Bible's like that, but traditionally the words that Jesus spoke were written in red letters. So that's kind of where we got the name from. And like I said, it's an event, and it's a new branch of my business. So we didn't want to call it like retreat. We wanted to say it was a project, because I'm sure this is going to branch into a bunch of different areas and aspects.
So, and for $600, I mean, you're getting a lot. Like you said, the meals, the lodging, you're going to get an IFAC kit, and then all the knowledge, all the training, and I mean, who knows? You may make a new best friend there too.
Yeah, you're gonna have 3 instructors there with you the entire weekend. We're gonna have people coming out to take pictures and stuff. It's pretty much an all-inclusive, just kind of turn your brain off, but still be able to learn while you're there.
With like-minded individuals, and that's key when you're doing training. You definitely want to be around a like-minded group. So that's awesome, Maddy. So yeah, again, theredletterproject.com. You guys go there, and if you want to contact Maddy about just the regular courses that they offer there at the Sharpshooters, and is that the only place that you do your training? But you said you will travel.
Yeah, I will travel if there's a range that wants me out there, or like if somebody wants to take a group and bring me out to their state, I will. Yeah, definitely go.
We need to look at having you come up to Nashville and do some stuff at the Royal Range. Royal Range is a awesome. It's an indoor range, very nice range here in the Nashville area. Now, do you do any outdoor range training, or is the majority of your stuff indoors?
I'd say like the majority of my stuff is indoors right now, but like I said, I travel to outdoor ranges all the time. The sharpshooters is really close to where I live, so it's pretty easy to get there. And I've been with them for a long time, so outdoor ranges are definitely better on the ears. So I'm always happy to go teach outdoors. Sawmill's a great facility, so you'll see some classes up there as well too.
Very cool. Very cool. So there are a lot of questions that I want to ask you, but I've been kind of saving them for this part of the show. So now I think it's a great time for our listeners to get to know Maddy a little better on a personal level. So we're going to find out more about you as the cool person that you are. Very outgoing and dynamic and fearless. So we want to learn more about that. So now it's time for the Talking Lead. New guy.
And sometimes a girl. Questions.
So Maddy, this is something we didn't talk about the last episode, and I know that you are limited on what you can discuss with it, but talk about your military law enforcement background that you've got.
Yeah, so I was in the Coast Guard for a little bit. I spent about 3.5 years there before I moved to England a couple years back.
England? What are you doing in England?
I got my master's degree over there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I was in the Coast Guard for a little bit. I was also getting my bachelor's at the time too. So finished that, moved over to England for about a year, and then coronavirus actually happened. So I was over there when the entire world went on lockdown.
Oh, you were over there for Rona, huh?
I was, and that was a interesting experience. I will say that. Got my master's degree over there, ended up coming back here and starting the business about 3 years ago. And it's all kind of fallen into place now.
Well, so what was life like in England during Rona? Because everybody knows what it was like here, and it was supposedly worse over there.
Oh yeah, it was pretty bad. So I remember at the time I was living in a super tiny apartment by myself. So like I lived by myself for about a year there. And when it happened, I remember it was just like an overnight thing. Me and a few friends were sitting there watching TV in my apartment, and then Prime Minister came on TV saying we're shutting down the country. And then the next thing I know, it's like ghost town. You couldn't leave your house. The only time you could leave your house was to go get groceries. And then later on, like a couple months later, they allowed you to get outside and run for a couple hours if you wanted to. So it was really weird. I remember being in a foreign country by yourself. With nothing to do because my master's program was basically coming to a close because I had finished all my papers. I was just kind of like keeping myself busy doing things I normally wouldn't do. Short time in it,
yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not a runner. I really don't enjoy running unless I'm training for something specific. But I remember over there I would run almost 12 miles a day, just because I had nothing else to do. And it was extremely, it was hard because you sit there and you stare at a blank wall for hours at a time because you can't leave your house.
I don't guess you knew a lot of people.
Yeah, I knew a lot of people, but a lot of my friends ended up going home to their home countries. I wanted to wait it out for a couple months because I had some plans after England that I was hoping were going to happen. But 3 months into it, I realized that it's not a healthy thing to keep yourself trapped in a box. You can't do that to yourself, and it takes a very mentally tough person to be able to do that in general. So I just decided, after 3 months, it's probably time to go home. Some interesting things happened too before I came home. I remember just kind of a random story. I remember just kind of praying on it and being like, what do I do? And all the flights back home to the U.S. had gotten closed down. There was nothing leaving the airports. Then the next morning I woke up after that prayer and did my run and everything, and a missionary actually stopped me on the side of the road and was like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? And I was like, stranger danger, no you can't. But he was like, hey, I'm a missionary, and I just wanted to tell you God heard your prayers last night. You're going to be taken care of. And I remember just going home and being like, what does that mean? That was so
super weird. Yeah,
how does that possibly happen? They were the only ones out in the roads that day. And then that night I was like, okay, I think it's time to go home. Looked up the flights. The only flight leaving from the UK to go back to the US and after the airport shut down, last flight out, I caught that one and was able to come home for the remainder of that time. So it was interesting, but I haven't been back to England since.
Yeah. Did you like it over there? I mean, other than that portion of it?
It was okay. I mean, the experience was cool because I like traveling. So pretty much every weekend I was there, I was in a different country, but
Yeah.
England's definitely. People think it's a lot like America because we speak the same language, but it's not.
Yeah, I have no desire to go over there. I just heard that they're rude and yeah, the food's not that great and
Food is not that great. I will say that.
yeah.
I
mean,
it's very
food,
rainy. The city I lived in was basically it looked like Gotham City,
like
and it felt
Seattle,
like it too.
like living in Seattle.
A lot of stabbings.
A lot of oh my gosh, well, it's because they ban all the guns, and criminals are going to be criminals, and they're going to commit crimes with whatever they got. So
yeah, and a lot of when I teach classes about concealed carry, a lot of what I talk about is situational awareness. When I was living over there in England, you can't carry a gun, you can't carry pepper spray, you can't carry a knife, nothing besides like your hands, basically. And so situational awareness was basically how we lived our lives, and it was really important. Especially if you're living there by yourself and you're a 5'1" chick, So I learned a lot from that experience.
Well, you're not your typical 5'1" chick, so but other 5'1" chicks can be just as self-reliant as you if they take the personal responsibility.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Next question. Yeah, and thank you for your service.
I appreciate that.
Being a coastie, they don't get the recognition that they deserve.
Nobody knows what Coast Guard does. We do so much cool stuff.
Oh, I know. I know. And if you had the opportunity to join the Space Force, would you join the Space Force?
You know what? I went through a phase when I was younger about wanting to be an astronaut, and then I realized that I don't really care about rocks, so probably not. Just for the experience to get to go to outer space, I think that'd be a step up from wing walking. But
yeah. Space Force, did they cancel that, or is that still a thing?
I have no idea. I haven't seen anything about it.
I know there's the show on Netflix or whatever with Steve Carell. It's pretty funny. But all right, next question. We'll move on. When it comes to no, that's not that question. What is your earliest recollection of firearms exposure?
So I remember, I don't know what age I was. I was pretty young. I remember my best friend.
You're pretty young right now anyway, so it couldn't have been that.
When I was younger, my kind of mentor / So when I was younger, my mentor at the time took me out and showed me how to shoot and everything. And it was kind of old school, 45, 1911 style. But then I got in the military and I actually learned how to shoot. And then I got out of the military and learned how to shoot better. So.
Are you like a Hannah?
What does that mean?
You're like my mentor. Have you been training in the deadly arts of martial arts since you were born? And
No, actually, my mentor was the one that taught me how to skydive and scuba dive. A little bit different, but same concept.
Yeah. So, and have you always lived in Georgia?
For the most part. Then I moved to South Carolina. Then I moved to England. So. Yeah.
Gotcha. And you were in England just for a short period of time, right?
Short period of time, yeah.
Yeah. And during your younger years with the firearms, did you do any hunting or anything like that? Did your mentor teach you how to hunt?
No, it was just very basic, how to shoot a pistol and how to be proficient with one, I guess. And then, like I said, got in the military, learned some I had some really good formal training, and then really got good when I got out because I started seeking private training.
Yeah. And what was the first firearm that you ever owned that you could call your own, that you bought yourself?
So, in Georgia, they have a law where, if you're 18 and you're in the military, you can get your CCW permit. My first gun was a Smith & Wesson Shield 45.
45? You went big, huh?
Yeah, I was like, go big or go home. I'm gonna, yeah. It was
not
the best decision.
Do you still own that?
I do. I won't give rid of it because I'm super sentimental. I just
yeah.
I don't know. I have no use for it, but.
You haven't gone and tricked it out or anything like that? Put some slide cuts in it, added that grip tape to it?
No.
Yeah, just your plain Jane Smith & Wesson.
Plain Jane. Usually carry a Glock 19 with an armor.
Nice.
Call it good.
Like that's your EDC?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Which model Glock?
The 19 Gen 5.
What do you think about the single stack, the slim model Glocks?
I think it's the 48, right?
I can't. Yeah, they got so many different numbers. I don't know.
48. I like them. I just personally honestly, if I can conceal a double stack and it be a full size gun that I also run on a teaching basis that I'm training with all the time, why not just run the same thing? I think once you learn to conceal, based on your body type and body size. You know, I'm 5'1", 115 pounds, but I can conceal that gun pretty easily. Like, why not? I don't see a need to go drop down to something smaller, personally, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there might be situations that might call for it if you're hotter climates, less less
I do have a
coverage.
backup 43, so like if I'm wearing something that I absolutely cannot figure out how to conceal my 19, I'll drop down to that 43 and just carry a couple extra mags.
There you go. I mean, that's always the answer, just more mags.
Yeah, I'll throw like one extra one in my backpack or my pocket or something.
There you go. There's always room for one more mag, definitely. So ask that. All right, we'll go to this one. When it comes to pop culture, what is your go-to, whether it's a movie, a book, a magazine, a TV show, a podcast, whatever it may be? What is your go-to for the ultimate relaxation getaway? You know, this is my jam.
So my all-time favorite movies ever are Mad Max, Fury Road, and Jurassic World. Like, those are my two. Everything I own is either Jurassic Park or something that has to do with Mad Max.
So the Mad Max Fury Road, is that the one with Charlize Theron? Is that her name?
Yeah,
It's the newer one.
It's the newish version, yeah.
Okay. Did you ever watch the older versions?
I have. I didn't like them as much, though, for some reason. Really? And I will say, so her hair in that movie, you know how she's basically shaved, she has a shaved head,
she
right?
looks rough, yeah.
Hey, I think, so my game plan, if the apocalypse ever does happen, is to shave all my hair off and go like 100% Furiosa style. And I think it's going to be really cool.
I think you should just do that anyway. Why not just it'll grow back.
I thought about it.
It'll grow back.
I think I can rock the short hair.
Oh, definitely. I know you can. That's why they make hats, you know. You start stylishing on some hats. I like the older ones better, I got to say. I didn't really care for that one at all.
Really?
The whole baby thing. I didn't care for it much. And then dude is Mad Max. I didn't like him at all. I can't remember his name.
You didn't like him as Mad Max?
No, he was horrible Mad Max. I didn't care for him at all. What's his name?
Oh God,
Tom Hardy. Yeah, we got it at the same time. Pink spoke. You owe me a cup. I like him in some other stuff though. I mean, he's good in some other stuff. But I just didn't like. He wasn't a good fit because Mad Max isn't. Anyway, it's more about her. I think that character, but anyway.
I think it was. I don't know. For some reason, I think the movie. The reason
Mad
I like
Maxine
it so much,
is what it should have been called.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's the graphics in the movie that I like so much, because the same reason I like Jurassic World as opposed to like the original Jurassic Parks is because like the graphics are really cool.
Yeah,
I like seeing the dinosaurs and like.
Well, see, that's another thing too. Is I've watched the newer Jurassic Parks and I like the older ones better.
Yeah.
Definitely like the first one. The very first one, you can't beat the very first Jurassic
Park. Yeah, I mean that's original, but the Jurassic World was good, but the ones after it were not that good. It was pretty much just dinosaurs eating people, and it didn't really have a storyline, and I wasn't like a huge fan of that. So
yeah. What I've always enjoyed is I've enjoyed westerns, you know, growing up, but I wasn't really into westerns, and specifically the spaghetti westerns. You know, I really enjoyed those, and those, you know, bring back memories of childhood and whatnot, because I'm a little bit older than you. But I recently got back into them. I started watching the spaghetti westerns again because they're putting more of them on those, you know, Hulu and Prime and Netflix and all those. Yeah. So I started watching those again, and I watched one. I made a post about it. It's My Name is Nobody. And it's kind of a spoof. It's a comedy spaghetti western, but it was made in the 70s, and I just love that, and that got me hooked. And I've been watching like one every night since.
Really?
Yeah. So I watched one with Henry Fonda last night, which Henry Fonda was in that one also. I can't remember what it was called, but I watched one last night. It had Henry Fonda in it, and you're seeing all these other people that are in these movies. You're like, hey, that guy was in that movie with Clint Eastwood, and then you'll go and you'll watch that movie, and you'll go watch like I think they call him The Stranger, the ones that Clint Eastwood is in, you know, like For a Few Dollars More, Hang 'em High, you know, those spaghetti westerns that Clint Eastwood, because he kind of in America, you know, he kind of set the trend for the spaghetti westerns. But I've really been enjoying those for some reason. The
Not gonna lie, I've never seen a spaghetti western.
And there's not a lot of dialogue in them. The special effects is, there's none whatsoever. It's just, the storyline, and it's usually this one stranger comes to town, nobody ever heard of him or anything, and he takes care of the evil banker that's trying to push everybody off their land, or whatever. But
Yeah. Huh.
they're good. Have you not got into you would like them?
Not a big movie person, not gonna lie. Like I've
Yeah.
never really hooked on any TV shows or movies besides those two.
Besides those two, besides Mad Max and Apocalypse. kind of
Besides
stuff.
Mad Max and Jurassic World, those are my two.
Dinosaurs and Apocalypse. I like it.
Yeah.
You never got into Walking Dead either, huh?
Nope, I've never seen it. Never seen Star Wars. Never seen Lord of the Rings. Like all the ones that everybody always references,
Yeah.
they always go right over my head.
Okay. What about music? What kind of music are you into?
Oh gosh, I do listen to music a lot. Like kind of that bluesy rock type of music.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how to explain it, but like a lot of that.
Bluesy rocks. That's a good explanation. What's
Yeah.
a band that's bluesy rocks that you listen to?
Oh gosh, now that you're asking me this question,
Putting you on the spot.
put me on the spot.
So you like more fast-paced kind of music? Or are you into...
I mean, kind of both, yeah.
do you like Bob Seger? You into Bob Seger kind of stuff?
Not as a little bit, not really. Like not as much the old school.
See, I would have guessed you to be like thrash metal, heavy metal, Metallica,
Let me give you an example. Let me pull
Lamb
up
of
my-
God kind of stuff.
Lamb of God. Oh gosh.
I think
hold on.
that's
Where-
actually a Christian thrash metal band, Lamb of God.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Huh. Let's see. I like Highly Suspect. I like Nothing More. Actually, I've been in a weird Machine Gun Kelly kick lately.
Machine
Like,
Gun Kelly, okay.
I don't know why. Yeah, he's made some really good. Like, look up Bloody Valentine. That's a good song. I think that's
I
a
did,
good song.
yeah, I do like that one. That's a good one. What about Post Malone?
Yeah. Not really a Post Malone kind of person.
'Cause he's
I
similar.
like Caged Elephant.
Caged Elephant. I've heard of Caged Elephant, yeah.
Kaleo's really good. Let's see. Black Keys, that kind of, I guess that's not really bluesy, but
Yeah. And the reason I say, I figured you to be that thrash metal because you seem to be an adrenaline junkie because you do skydive, you do scuba dive, you do wing walking, which we talked a little bit about last episode, and I think one of our questions they want you to talk a little more about your wing walking experience.
I think if I remember the question correctly, he's like, "What was your mindset when you were getting up there?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, there's a lot of things going through my mind," but realistically, like when you're doing those kind of things, it's like up until the point of you actually doing it, your mind's racing and you're like questioning yourself occasionally and stuff like that, and then you get up there and it's game time. It's time to focus. It's time to make sure that nothing bad happens, and it's very clear, calm-minded when you're actually up in the air, I guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, you seem, like I said, you seem to do a lot of high adrenaline type activities. We'll say it that way. Why do you think that you're attracted to those type of activities?
Ooh, that's a deep question.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I kind of want to get in the mindset of Maddy here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have a little brother, but he's nothing like me. He's
Yeah.
he's very, very super, super smart, kind of a mathy guy.
Yeah.
So he's really not into the extreme sports kind of thing. I kind of pick up after my mom. She's very much like me. But
Yeah.
as far as like the mindset goes, I mean, I've been doing this stuff since I was like 15 years old. So
Yeah.
before, most people were playing soccer and stuff when they were in high school, I was like traveling the country diving for like full time. Like I was teaching dive and stuff like that. So
And you do MMA too. I mean, we haven't discussed that yet either. I mean, you do MMA as well. So there's got to be at some point in your life you were just like, this is what I enjoy doing because either I saw somebody do it or I don't know. I mean, do you know what the catalyst was that maybe set you in that path, set you on that direction?
yeah, so like I was homeschooled for most of my life, and then I went to public school for maybe like a year or two, and I didn't like it, didn't really fit in, so I left. I started working full time at a dive shop, like a scuba dive shop.
Mm-hmm.
my mentor, that's where I met my mentor, and me and him and like a few of the other guys at the shop, and like we had this like dive team that we would basically travel and teach classes and stuff like that. And our core place was always the dive shop in Georgia, but that kind of got me started on that. I was also doing a lot of like bull riding and rodeo at the time too, so like you get used to that level of adrenaline, and that's just a lifestyle at that point. So you know, you did that, and then I turned 18, started skydiving a little bit, realized that wasn't a good direction, a healthy direction for me, just because of like, you know, there's a lot of things that can happen, and I really am a happy person. I enjoy my life a lot, so I didn't want to, you know, there's a certain level of risk that you're willing to tolerate to do those kind of things. So about that same time, I started getting into the fight game, and that's really been my core thing for a long time. So dive and fighting, those are my two things that have stuck with me throughout like the more adult side of my life.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what's your discipline in the MMA? What's your focus? Is it jiu-jitsu or what is it?
So I was a lot better at striking than I was grappling, but I did Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, and a little bit of boxing, and you know, you throw in wrestling and stuff like that in there too. It all kind of meshes together.
Yeah, but is there one that you focused on more than the other? You said you're
definitely. I think Thai. Thai was always my go-to favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're more of a knock them down kind of. You don't
more of a striker. Yeah, definitely more of a striker. I picked it up a lot quicker. I guess there's people in the MMA world that pick up striking quicker than ground game, and vice versa. So it was always striking for me.
How many fights have you had?
So my last fight was in May. I took a break after that. I did a lot of tournaments before then. The biggest thing with like the fight game though is the camps themselves take so much time. So like you know, you'd be in the gym for 6 hours a day, and when the business got up and going like really heavily, I didn't have the time for that. So like it's kind of dangerous to go into an MMA fight like you're fighting somebody in a cage in front of 800 people without a fight camp. Like that's not a good thing to do. So I kind of took a break after that last one, and it was last May, I believe.
Did you win or lose?
Yeah. Oh, I lost that one. I got my butt kicked. She was good. Like, let me tell you about that, actually.
Yeah, let's hear about it. I was going to ask you, yeah.
Yeah, so that
if you want to talk about it, I mean, that's fine.
I'm okay with taking a loss. It's fine. It's a life experience. So, yeah, she, like, I remember before that fight, I took that fight before I realized that I was going to end up, I had 2 full-time jobs. So, there was no way at that time in my life that I could fit in a fight camp, but I'm not the kind of person to pull out of a fight because of that reason, you know, that's not fair to the opponent. So I did my best. Me and my coach were training like super late at night or super early in the morning, because that's the only time I could actually like, you know, train. So it was kind of rough. It was really heavy on the physical side. It was not healthy. I wasn't sleeping that much. So like going up to that fight, I wasn't really in the right mindset because I hadn't prepared the way that you usually prepare for a fight. But the cool thing is it went all 3 rounds. It went to decision. There were some really tough moments in that fight. It was really cool. For me, the reason I fight is because it teaches me a lot about myself, and it also teaches me how I work under stress. So, like, yeah, I lost. She definitely kicked my butt. But the one thing that the announcers did say, and the one thing that I know I took from that fight, is the entire time, super calm. Like, didn't panic, didn't stress out, didn't get myself worked up. Like, I just kind of took it as it came, and I was really proud of myself for it. So, you know, I'd rather take a hard loss like that than an easy win, in my opinion. I don't know.
You went the distance? You went the full 3 rounds?
Or... All 3 rounds, yeah. I went to decision, and I was like, I definitely lost this one, but it was fun.
Well, at least you didn't get knocked out or choked out or anything like that. So, I mean, that's...
No, I almost did. I definitely almost did.
You almost
was
did?
A grappler, yeah.
So is there a future? You see that kicking back up, or you think that is something in the past?
Like the past, well, I guess, so after May, I took a few months off just to kind of recover, heal from a few injuries and stuff, and then got back in the gym. Got back in the gym, but at this point in time, I'm only grappling. I'm not striking at all. So my game plan is basically grapple for a year or 2, and then maybe if I have the time, like depending on where the business is at, then maybe get back in the cage. But for right now, I'm just going to stick with grappling for a little bit, because I need to work on that anyway. Like, that was always my weak point. So I'll do that for a few years, probably pick up a few tournaments, and then maybe get back in the cage.
I come watch you fight. Let me know if you do that again.
That's awesome. It's funny because like that last fight, I had more gun companies sponsoring the fight than I did actual like fight company sponsoring the fight.
Yeah, that's cool that they, MMA hasn't limited that. You don't see it in like the big fights. I don't know if it's just cost prohibitive for firearms coming, or they actually to a certain limit. When you get certain thing, they don't allow it. I don't know, but.
Well, it's interesting because I remember a couple months ago I went to a rodeo, like one of the professional rodeos down here in Georgia, and USCCA, like the Concealed Carry Association, tried to sponsor that rodeo, and they wouldn't let them apparently because of some sort of marketing thing with their partners or whatever. So
bullshit. Like NASCAR, same thing with NASCAR. It's just ridiculous.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm glad to see that they're doing. Another friend of the show. Guy in podcasting, the student of the gun, Jared Markle. I don't know if you've ever heard of Jared, but he did MMA for a while. They called him Lil Fedor. That was his nickname, Lil Fedor.
It's funny.
But
I just had my business name on my mouth guard. It said Maddy Dawg.
I like that. Get your drawers, get your robe and everything with that on there. That would be sweet. All right, next question is, what is your next gotta have, wanna have, once you get the cash for it or whatever, you're gonna go out and you're buying it?
Oh gosh, I have so many things. Like, I'm a gear person, so like I don't spend money on clothes. I don't spend money on like a bunch of makeup. I spend money on like my truck parts and gun stuff and dive gear. So, definitely the next thing I'm going to go buy is I got some stuff I want to put on my truck. Like I want to change out the winch. I want to put a higher lift on it.
What kind of truck you got?
I'm going for an overlanding type rig because I go to a lot of these ranges and I'd rather camp in my truck than sleep at a hotel. So
what kind of truck you got?
Got a Tacoma.
A Tacoma.
Tacoma.
All kitted out, huh?
Not yet. It's not there yet. I've got some parts I need to put on it.
There you go. So firearm wise, what would be the next gun that you would buy?
I'm probably going to build out another rifle here soon.
Mm-hmm. You enjoy building your own?
I like parting it together.
I do too.
I like picking some companies that I support and just kind of picking and choosing what I put together, I guess.
Yeah.
So I haven't really thought about it too much, but probably put together a new rifle at some point, maybe like a 12.5 or something like that.
Yeah.
What else is there? I just built out a competition rig, so put together like a CZ with the Black Scorpion belt and mag pouches and everything, and that took a little bit of my budget out. So I'm gonna kind of relax for the next couple months.
You doing the 3-gun competitions?
Not right now. I'm just doing USPSA right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just.
It's
among,
really fun.
Among everything else. Definitely. So, money be damned, laws be damned. What would you own? Anything.
I probably own a. Let's see. There's a lot of things. I mean,
you could have anything. What was the first thing that came to mind? What was the first thing?
The first thing that came to mind is like, this is gonna sound really dumb, but like a little shed at my house that has like, when you walk into it, it's almost like a perfectly enclosed like gear locker that has everything super organized. Like my dive stuff has one section, and my riding stuff has one section, my gun stuff has one section. It's just like super nice. And right now I have a gear closet, but it's nothing like, it's not really organized. It doesn't really have like parted out spaces for different sports. So like a really cool like mini house for my stuff, I guess, which sounds kind of dumb, but I think it'd be cool.
I would need a person to keep shit organized for me, because I'm horrible. I don't know if you can see my background, but I'm trying to hide a lot of it, but I'm probably the most disorganized person you've ever met. But I know where everything is, Yeah. It's just piles.
I remember when I was like a kid, like 13, 14 years old, I had one of my parents' friends had a gun locker that they literally would pay me to come like organize for them. Like they'd take all the guns out and they'd be like, okay, can you just like organize all the ammo and stuff while we watch you? And I'd be like, okay, let me make some extra money on the side from this.
You're like, heck yeah. A really nice big gear room or building is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
State
like
of
I
the
know
art.
there's a couple companies out there that do like organized spaces and all that. So sponsor me, that'd be great.
Yeah. So bigger, if you're thinking bigger, like you can own anything. Anything. Money be damned, laws be damned. You can have
I'd
it
probably
right
own
now. You can have
something
it.
that transport, like maybe like an airplane, so I could go travel easier.
Yeah.
Like I could fly wherever I wanted to instead of having to drive everywhere. But at the same time, I really enjoy driving my truck. So if I could just deck that out, I'd probably be happy.
So a really decked out vehicle. Yeah.
Really decked out. Or how about this? Gas for life without having to pay for it.
Well, I mean, yeah. I was thinking, we've had people that say, I would have an island on my island, and I would have all this fortification with miniguns, and I would have a runway, and I would be flying my A-10 Warthog in on it, and
like, nope, I like my truck, I like my gear, I just need to organize it better. Can you help me with that?
Organization, I like it. I definitely like it. Now you said you're a scuba diver also.
Yeah.
I am too. I haven't been
cool.
haven't been in way too long. I need to go again. But that is something that I really, really enjoy is getting down there and just nothing. Quiet, peaceful, calm, surreal. I love that. And I like wreck diving too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
So I used to do, when I was younger, I used to do a lot of clear water diving, and then it turned into a lot of pretty much solely blackwater stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever seen the pictures of the megalodon teeth that are the size of your hand,
Yeah.
but that's what we do. And we do, like we'll go in a river, take our little boat down, go to the river, drop down, you can't see anything, and you kind of just pull yourself up by feel.
Yeah.
We find these big artifacts that we end up giving to the museum a lot of the times, or we find big megalodon teeth that are the size of your hand. I should have pulled one out. I got one in that room back there. But
yeah, that would be cool. That's why you're into Jurassic Park, huh?
It's one of the reasons, yeah, because like if you're finding dinosaur bone, or not, they're not actually dinosaur bones, but like if you're finding fossils and stuff, it kind of goes hand in hand.
Well, those are dinosaurs. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you got one? Let's see it.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Yeah, I want to see that. So she's running to get her megalodon tooth there. Just a reminder, you guys, email us, talkinglead@gmail.com if you got any questions, comments about any of our past episodes. Maybe you've got something that you would like us to talk about on the show. talkinglead@gmail.com. And, of course, we're on the social medias @talkinglead. And we did a post with Maddy where we asked for your listener questions, and we're going to hit those here in just a second.
All right, so I got a couple.
What do you got here?
These are just the ones that I had sitting at the top of the fossil deck. But
oh, nice.
This one.
See, I wanted to be an archaeologist. That was one of the things I wanted to be when I was younger.
I mean, it's cool. I like finding rocks and stuff. A lot of times I have buddies that get super into like the scientific stuff behind it, but I just like finding them. I think it's really cool.
And where are you finding these teeth? In Georgia?
I can give away my spots.
Well, you can give me the state. In Georgia?
So I found this one in Georgia. I found this one in South Carolina. I found this one in North Carolina.
Oh, nice. And this is in the rivers there, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really neat. I've never found anything cool like that. So
Come hang with us. So we'll make sure you find it too.
I have dove with sharks before, though.
They're like
live sharks, and then there was this one. It was a huge tiger shark. It was like 12 feet long or something. It was huge. It was and it was just lurking in the back. You could see its silhouette where we were diving.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I hated it. I was like, oh shit. But yeah, diving. I really enjoy that. So if you could spend the day at the range with anyone, whether they're dead, alive, or fictional, or any group of people, who would it be?
This is probably not the answer you're looking for, but
I'm not looking
actually
for an
one
answer.
of the
I'm looking for your answer.
one of the best instructors I've taken a class from is Mark Smith from JBS Training. I don't know if you've heard of him or if you know him, but
don't know him.
He's out of South Carolina, and I don't know, just so actually, well, when I took that class from him, Chris Woomer was also co-teaching, so they were both phenomenal instructors. And I know Mark has been kind enough to send me some like dry fire drills and stuff once I got home from that class, and like I've stayed connected with him.
Yeah.
And he is a phenomenal instructor, and I cannot wait to. At some point, I want to go take another one of his pistol classes. Highly recommend him.
Very cool. So you'd like
I
to
guess
spend the
a
day
day or
at the range?
two shooting with him, I'd be pretty happy.
Be a happy camper. Okay. See,
Yeah.
that's the whole purpose of these questions. Is just spur that. It's not what I'm looking for or what you think people want to hear. It's what the first thing that comes to your mind, and you did that. You did that perfectly. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, everybody hears the question differently, also.
Right.
And their mind will go to, Wyatt Earp. I'd love to spin it with, Wyatt Earp, or like you said, Mad Max, that chicken Mad Max or whatever, because it's fictional, it's dead, it's alive. So, no, that's good.
In my mind, I go practical. I'm like, who could I actually train with reasonably? Like Mark Smith.
Yeah. See, you heard is who could I train with? That's not what I asked. I said, if you could spend the day at the range with anyone, dead, alive, fictional, but see, it's interesting to what people hear. So you heard, who would I train with? And
Perception is everything.
And that's cool. So very good. So you survived the new guy questions. Good job.
Yeah.
I'll ask you this one, but I probably already know the answer to it. And this is one that I've added. I usually end it with that one, but do you believe in UFOs? Alien?
No. I don't really believe in UFOs.
Ghost? Anything like that?
No.
Bigfoot?
Not Bigfoot.
Would you go Bigfoot hunting?
I would, just for like the.
If I organized a big, I'll say big, but I organized this group, and we've got all the state of the art equipment. We've got heat and night vision and sound, and we're going to go out to the woods in Washington State or wherever he's at, supposedly. And we're not going to kill him, but we will be armed. We will be armed. But our goal is not to kill Bigfoot. But we're just going to go out and we're going to, once and for all, we're going to prove or disprove this.
I would go out there just for the pure like enjoyment of watching y'all try to find Bigfoot.
Just to make fun of us.
Pretty much. And to like spend some time in the woods. But I will say, when I was living in England, the Loch Ness Monster thing, or the Loch Ness Monster over, I think in Scotland or something like that.
Yeah.
I was trying to dive that lake, and it just never got around to it.
Loch Ness, yeah.
Yeah, Loch Ness. I don't believe in it. I think it was something, I don't know. I don't believe in it, but I think it'd be cool just to say you went there to dive in that area.
Yeah.
But no, I don't really believe in UFOs or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, I do believe that there are other life forms in our universe, galaxy, whatever, There's just too many probabilities that there's not. Now, have they ever come to Earth? No, I don't think that we've had any visitations from any alien life forms, other than maybe if a comet came in and there was, some sort of micro, life form or something like that on it. UFOs, things like that. Huh?
What made you think of that question?
What did I think of what question?
What made you think of that?
Well, I enjoy listening to things about it. So I when conspiracy theories or, UFO, when recently the government, released those videos of their pilots that had video evidence of unidentified flying objects that were doing things that defied physics. They actually released that a couple of years ago. I don't know how long it was, but Roswell, that kind of stuff. It makes me think, it's like, okay, not really maybe necessarily aliens, but there's something going on, either governmental wise or experimental wise, that the government's trying to cover up. So
it reminds me of that Scooby-Doo episode from a long time ago.
Which one? They're all that way.
I don't know, just one of them. They're like in Vegas or something, and they're like tracking down aliens in the desert. For some reason that came to mind, but
okay.
Interesting.
I haven't seen that one. You'll have to send me a link.
I will have to forward you all the UFO memes I see from now on.
Okay. Please don't, because the listeners will start doing that too. So
I think we should all try start doing it.
Inundate me with UFO memes. That would be great. So let's do this. Speaking of listeners, we've got a few questions, and we've probably fielded them all. If you would go to Instagram, my Instagram.
Yeah, there was a few questions on Instagram, I think, about the Red Letter Project.
Yeah, so let's go there. I'm going to pull it up. You pull it up, and we'll field them together here. And for those who are new listeners, I post questions when I can, when I know in advance enough who my guest is going to be. I give you an opportunity to post your questions there because we don't do this live most of the time. So we will read your questions on air. And if you haven't been to the Ready Man Network on Instagram, this is the one that popped up. They post a lot of cool videos on there about crazy wildlife mishaps and people fighting in the street and stuff like that. But we've had them on the show again. You're talking about Jared Markle. He runs the Ready Man Network social media there. They put up some cool stuff. All right, here we go. Oh, we got a new one here since we've been recording. Lockdown secured. What is the most important thing to remember or do when defending yourself or others? And this is from Ronell over at Lockdown Secure. Thank you for the question, Ronell.
Yeah, it's a cool question. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I've been in a self-defense shooting or anything. But if I had to give an answer right off the rip, what I would say is remember to try to take the time to take a breath and make a good decision on whatever's happening. Try to take that 0.2 seconds it takes to breathe out. Think about what you're doing first before you do it.
Yeah, and that goes back to you on the capable, present, and centered. Your three.
And actually, I would also say important thing to remember or do also coincides with what you do before an incident ever happens. So like the planning and the training that comes prior to an incident actually occurring is more important than anything else, right? Because if you mentally prepare yourself to be in that mindset, it's going to prepare you a lot more than having to make a quick decision on the fly.
Very cool. And I'm going to be attending a training class that they are hosting with Gunsight out in Arizona the end of this month. So I'm going out to the Gunsight facility sponsored by Lockdown and do some defensive pistol, rifle, and shotgun training out there. So
That's awesome.
Looking forward to that. Morgan Mills Music. Can't wait to learn more about the retreat. Any pre-qualifications to sign up?
So the way I think I'm going to go, or the way that we've planned how we're going to do applications is you don't have to be a super advanced shooter. You don't have to be a competition shooter. The only thing I'm really asking for pre-qualification is basically just that, like, you've taken some form of gun safety class before you get there. Because we're going to start everybody off on kind of like not square one, but we want to make sure that everybody's fundamentals wise is on the same page. Yeah. And it would really be helpful if like people could come in with at least a little bit of knowledge on fundamentals and gun safety.
Yeah. That way you don't spend all your time on that.
Right.
Instead of
So you don't have to have taken 10 classes. You could have taken a gun safety course or some sort of fundamentals course prior to coming, and I'll be happy with that.
Very good. And I know Morgan is very interested in this retreat. She contacted me and was like, "Hey, I'm very excited about it." She was going to be on with us. I tried to get her on, but again, short notice, she couldn't make it. But she is very excited about this, and she wants to talk to you personally. So I'll do an introduction with you and Morgan.
That would be great. We're looking forward, just like any kind of person, as long as you're open-minded and you're willing to learn. And what we're really looking for in applications is the effort put into it. So like I said, you don't have to be the most experienced shooter, but we do want to see that you want to be there. Like, I want the women I choose to like have made that decision on their own. Like, I don't want, husbands forcing anybody to go. I don't want like that pressure to be there. I want it to be a purely individual decision, and the effort will come out in the application, I think. So, I think it'll be kind of fun to weed through all the applications and see who applies, and whoever doesn't get in the first time, y'all will go on a priority list for the next time we run the retreat.
Yeah, very good. Katie, KTD Healy 95. Good old Katie Cat. Question for Maddy. What is the minimum level of shooter that should attend the Red Letter Project retreat? I think you kind of just answered that. And then a follow-up, do you do training events for women who have little to no shooting experience?
Yes, I do intro classes all the time. And with those intro classes, kind of like I said earlier, we have the intro class, and then we have 3 mini classes to go directly after those. So, you spend your time in intro, you learn a bunch of knowledge, you basically drink through a fire hose, and then you come back later on and actually rep that stuff out. So if you're in the Georgia area, let me know. Or if you want me to come teach in your state, let me know as well.
Very cool. And I think she's specifically saying for women. So I know you do co-ed classes. And would you consider doing a women's only course like that? And I think that would be huge, especially, again, for little to no experience. They don't want to be around the guys and, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we are going to have, I did forget to mention this, we are going to have a women's only pistol fundamentals class going at Sawmill in May. I'll be teaching that. I don't have the exact dates yet, but it's separate from the actual retreat itself. It's going to be before the retreat. So that'll be an option. Sawmill's up in South Carolina if you're near there. But yeah, occasionally we will do women's only classes either at Sawmill, and if there's an interest in it, then I'll definitely do it at Sharpshooters as well.
Cool. Oh, and Ronell, actually, through her account, she posted one here. So, Ronell Franklin, my next goal for myself is defensive training so I can create space between myself and an attacker. Can you please give some pointers on this and what you recommend as a good starting point? Great question.
I would say a good starting point is to create a boundary in your head of like what's okay and what is not okay. So in my mind, a lot of what creating space is knowing where that limitation is, meaning like you're walking down the street and somebody approaches you, you need to already have a mental barrier in your head where you're like, okay, if this person crosses this amount of space between me and them, that's when I'm going to actually act. So whether that space for you, that personal space is 3 feet or 6 feet, whatever it is, like you need to have that boundary in your head and set already before you even leave the house. And
you do that by taking courses and training. That's how you're going to know what that space is. So you go to a course like Maddy's, especially this Red Letter project that you're going to be doing, because you're going to be doing both firearms and hand-to-hand physical defensive training. So this would be a perfect opportunity for somebody to gauge that.
Yeah, we're going to try to make it more of like the retreat is less so us telling you what to do and more of a think tank session. So like I want everybody's opinion, what their experiences are, and we're going to kind of use that prior knowledge like of what has happened in the past to kind of build a really good fundamental like knowledge before you leave. I want you to be able to have these boundaries in your head and know what those signs are, and like kind of just have that situational awareness background before you even touch a firearm. I think that's really important.
Oh, very good. Arms of Acadia for Maddy. I have a 5-year-old daughter, and I want to help equip her with tools to defend herself as she grows up. What is something you tell a young girl to give her confidence that she can defend herself if she ever needs to?
So I would say one of the most important things I've learned throughout my life is the way you hold yourself and the way you make eye contact with people goes a long way. So like body posture, how you walk to places, where your head is at, meaning like is your head like sitting there in your phone texting, or are you actively making eye contact with people as you're walking through a space?
Are you looking at your shoelaces, or are you aware of your surroundings? Are you looking around? Because criminals aren't going to pick you out of the crowd because you are alert, you're aware. They want weakness, they want surprise.
Mm-hmm. And using your voice too, like if she's what'd you say, 5 years old?
5-year-old.
Teach her to use her voice at a young age. Like saying no loudly gathers attention. It also scares a lot of people because people aren't used to confrontation, especially criminals. Like they're not used to being confronted. So if you can teach her to use her voice actively and actively make eye contact, and like I said, hold herself in a manner that like creates a powerful presence in a room, I think that's more valuable than anything else, honestly, especially at that age.
And assertive. Be assertive.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Those are great. These are great questions.
Yeah, those are good questions. I
Here's
had
one
on
that's
my
not
page,
so
too.
great, but you got one on your page. Let's read
What's
yours.
that?
I said I got one
more.
here that's not so great, but we'll say go ahead and do yours. So you got one on yours.
Okay. Mark_Ethan01 said, number 1, what is something you are still struggling with now as it relates to shooting? And number 2, what are you doing to fix it? Let's see. So actually, I think the thing I'm struggling with the most right now is I'm going from I primarily teach on my open belt, like meaning like my Safariland holster with my open mag pouches and my SIG and like all that stuff, kind of like a war belt.
Mm-hmm.
I teach with that a lot of the times because I have a lot of space to put things. Like I can put my shot timer on it. I can put Sharpies, extra rounds, all that stuff in there because it comes in use when I'm actively on the range. Going from that to a competition rig is something that's kind of like newer, I guess, because I just put up that new setup. So for me, getting used to a new gun and a new style of holster has been something I've been kind of struggling with lately. And of course, like consistency transfers anyway, but right now I'm just working on getting used to that stuff. Like every night, putting at least a dozen or so reps on it, no matter how tired I am, and like actively using it on the range and not letting myself be lazy and using my other belt. So just getting used to a new setup is not really a specific answer to that question, I guess, but
It's an answer.
Actually, I don't know. I don't know if I like that answer. Can I redo that?
No, that's a good.
That's kind of.
I mean, what would you add to it? What would you add to that?
I guess like in addition to that, I realized like stage planning or movement wise on stages, like I've been kind of struggling a little bit to get myself to move a little bit quicker out of positions, I guess. Like I'll get myself in a position and get stuck there before I start moving in for competition. That's not good for your time. So I've been working on that as well, but you can cut that out. That was stupid too.
I'm going to include all that.
No, don't include that. That was I'm trying to think like specifically, but realistically, like I've been focusing a lot of my time on changing my setup and gearing myself more towards a speed rig. And that's been a kind of a weird change because I'm not used to having my holster in a certain area. I'm not used to this new setup. So I don't know. It's a change.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's anytime you change your equipment, your kit, your gear, you're going to have a learning curve, and you have to go to the range and you have to learn how to do that new setup. Otherwise you're going to revert back to the old.
Like fundamentals always transfer. Like your fundamentals will always transfer to a different gun, but like the little details and the little nitpick stuff, like your split times not being perfect, or like your mag change times being a little bit slower because you're using a new gun, like that all kind of like they're minor details, but they do matter.
Or you decide to do a different setup on your belt.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, next question, and unless you got another one, we'll make this the last one. And we answered Sack Archer. He was the one that was asking about your wing walking. I don't think we went into any more detail, but Corey Brown, and he's always coming up with off-the-cuff comments and questions here. So I'm hesitant to read this, but at the same time, it is a real thing. It's legitimate, especially for women.
Right.
My wife is well endowed in the chest area and has shorter arms. She's got T-Rex arms, I guess. We have tried lots of different positions and can't seem to find one she's comfortable with. Shooting position. Have you come across this? What are some solutions? So, again, different body types are going to not be able to perform, I guess, certain actions as precise as maybe they could be. So it's like golf, when you got a bigger, fatter person doing a golf swing versus a skinny person, there's workarounds. So
right. My advice, I guess, would be to him specifically, have your wife reach out to me and send me a few videos and pictures of like how she shoots as it is right now. And I can make adjustments from there. I have run into quite a few problems like that. Not that one specifically, but there's always a workaround to whatever issues you're having. I would say you probably need to get her with a trainer that either has like knowledge, or I guess, how do I say this? Get her with a trainer that is female, because that female is going to be able to talk to her a little bit differently and a little bit. She's going to feel more respected talking about that kind of stuff with a female as opposed to a male, just because of the concept. But Yeah, have her send me a few videos.
Get in touch with Maddy. Just get in touch with Maddy,
get in touch
okay?
with me, just because I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to speak before I see what's going on. It might be a fundamental issue too, so she might be doing something wrong position wise. That's not going to be conducive to any body shape. So
you know, and that's another thing too is kit and gear that is out there. You know, with more and more women getting into firearms and shooting and self-defense. Clothes, gear is typically made and cut for a man's build, but we're starting to see more companies cater to the female cut and build, and probably not as much as we should. Yeah. But you know, a smart company is going to realize the need and the demand, and I think we're going to start seeing more. Yeah. Clothing, kit, gear that are specific for different body types, not necessarily just women, but yes, women.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I really hope so. It'd be really nice to not have to wear dude pants like anymore.
Yeah, I think we talked about that last episode. You were talking about, and I said First Tactical makes it. Did you ever check them out? You need to go check out those
I did.
pants.
I need to order a pair. I ordered. I ended up spending my money on Piranhas because I usually wear those, but yeah, like they're between kit, body armor, stuff like that. Like even body armor is, gets kind of funny when you're dealing with different types of body shapes, like you just said. So it'd be cool to see kit start to come out with more of a female geared kind of ratio, I guess. Because it really does matter. If the firearms industry wants to include women, they're gonna have to actively do things to include women, if that makes sense. Like they're gonna have to make gear.
No, it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have to make.
What would you say is the most lacking as far as catering to women right now? It's not the pants, but what would you say?
You mean like gear wise?
Just anything wise. What would you think is just like, this really needs to be more catered towards a woman's style or cut or whatnot? Because we're seeing lighter, skinnier firearms. So I think the firearms manufacturers are getting it. I think they're starting to come around.
I would honestly say like more. I don't know if this is going to answer your question, but like more female role models, because what I've learned through cage fighting, what I've learned through diving, what I've learned through shooting, like it feels like a lot of women are starting out without some sort of role model, because like it's really hard to start something when you don't know if you're going to be able to do it or not. To be able to see a woman on UFC fighting in a cage, like I remember when I was a kid, I was like, wait a minute, if she's doing it, that means I can do it too, So with shooting, it's the exact same thing. Like I've had a lot of encounters with women, and they'll be like, wait a minute, you shoot competition? Or wait a minute, like you teach? Like I didn't even know, like how did you do that? And I'm just like, you can do anything you put your mind to, as long as you like have some sort of example in your mind to go off of, So I think like the marketing, the like the influencers on Instagram, I hate that word, but like we really need some really solid female role models for people to bounce ideas off of and like be welcoming into the community. Because like, yeah, we can see a bunch of guys doing some high speed stuff on Instagram, but like that's just going to exclude women more because they don't think they can do the same thing. So one of the reasons that I put vehicle dynamics in my red letter project is not because it's they're going to use it on a daily basis, but first of all, I want them to know what happens if you do have to use it, and second of all, because I wanted them to see that they are able to do this stuff too, and I think that's really important.
I like that answer. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
But and just to expound upon that a little bit, anything in the commercial market that you think really needs attention to cater to female shooters?
Commercial market, you mean like gear and stuff?
Yeah.
Clothing, I would say
gear.
more. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the whole like this firearm is designed for women. Like I think that puts us in a box. I really, being a small frame female shooter, like I can pretty much shoot what everybody else is shooting. I don't think designing firearms basically for women is the most healthy thing, because again, that puts them in this box of. But
women are all different shapes and sizes, just like men are too. So yeah, exactly. What are you saying for women? Are you saying for smaller women? Are you saying for, whatever? But yeah, I get what you're saying, and I think, like I said, I think the actual firearms manufacturers, the gun manufacturers, and not not necessarily saying it that this is made for a woman, but it's lighter, it's more concealable, it's, without saying it, they're actually, saying it.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I've had a lot of women come in and buy, they'll buy super tiny little pocket, like, bodyguard size firearm, and they'll be like, oh, this was advertised as for women because it's tiny, and then it kicks out of their hands and they were like confused why they don't like shooting, and I'm like, that's because it was marketed wrong. Like, that gun was not designed for the purpose you're trying to use it for.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a kind of a little pet peeve of mine when that kind of narrative goes around.
Yeah.
So commercially, I think we got to be really careful with that. I would like to see female role models out there, like, advertising the same thing the dudes are running, like the same guns, with small tweaks. The clothing obviously needs to be different. The kit needs to be a little bit different. But, like, as far as firearms go, I think sticking with standard stuff, but putting a example out there would be a really good, healthy thing for the industry. I don't know.
Okay.
Also, running, like, training wise, having, like, good female shooters out there also doing as many videos as the guys are. I think that's also important. Like, seeing them train too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. Lead, visually by example. So that's
right. Yeah.
Are you doing YouTube videos or anything like that? I know you do some Instagram posts from time to time, and you're not a gun bunny, so that's another thing too. Is we got a lot of these gun bunnies that are just they are influencers. Yeah, they draw more attention to the industry and firearms, but they're doing it in a sexual manner, which again, some people say, well, any kind of attention is good attention, but
no,
that's arguably not true. And I think there needs to be more of, like you say, and they may be an attractive female too, and they're bringing people by their attractiveness, but it's not the bikini gun bunny, showing my whatnot, because there are some very attractive women out there that are doing legitimate firearms promotion and training and whatnot, and are influencers, I guess.
And I have something to say about that too. So there are a few of us out there that are legitimately have dedicated our entire career to being that female or trying to be that female example. And I will tell you too, there's a lot of hate for it. I can't tell you how many messages I've gotten or how many times a friend's called me up and just kind of slid this by me. Like, I don't know if it was intentional or whatever, but kind of being just like, hey, you have a following on Instagram because you're attractive. And I'm like, no, that doesn't mean that my entire following is only following me because my face is pretty. It's because I'm trying to put out legitimate content and encourage a certain market in this environment. Like, that's
you're that role model that you're talking about. You are that role model, Maddy, that for the women that they should be following, that encourages younger and newer people that want to get into the firearms. They see you and it's like, and I don't think they're looking at whether you're attractive or not either. They're just like, hey, here's somebody who's really enjoying this. They're into it. It's, they're taking it serious. She also is into scuba diving. She's also into MMA. She also is a little bit nutty and getting on airplane wings. And
well, and I think it's like, so, I think of role model as being, if I were to have a kid, like, what would I want my kid seeing, right?
Yeah.
So for those of us that are out there making, trying to make good content, I know Amy556 is also somebody I follow on Instagram. She makes really good stuff too. She's really pretty, but she puts out genuinely educational content. And so I think for those kind of people, it's super important for the people following in the industry to not dog them for being attractive too. It's okay to be pretty and also put out good content.
It's very condescending, I think, of those people that have said that, oh yeah, the only reason you have this following is because of how you look. That's very condescending. And it's not true.
It's very discouraging because you're like, I've tried so hard to avoid being the gun bunny or whatever, but every time I get on Instagram, if I see somebody saying that, you're all you are is a pretty face, that's obviously, you got to roll that off your shoulder and take it for what it is. But
at the same time, like I said, it's a tool that you have, or if you have it, somebody finds you attractive and they follow you because of that. But the content that you're providing is educational and useful. Then so what? Great. Use your looks to do that, but don't, like some of the people, it's purely sexual and
Right, and that's not who I am, and I don't think that's who people like Amy 556 are. And
No, there's a
like,
lot
I
of
don't
lot of them that out there that aren't, but they're
Yeah.
this industry, and I hate it because a lot of the companies that push and promote them, they're promoting that side of the sex, the sexuality of it. Sex sells, and they're jumping on that bandwagon, or because this guy, and they do it for guys too. There are idiots out there that are huge Instagram influencers or whatever they call them, that have these huge followings, but they're complete boneheads.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would you ever put a gun in that guy's hand? Why would you want him associated with your product? Well, look at all the followers that he's got and the people that. I was like, well, you got to pick and choose your.
Yeah,
want,
there's a balance. I think, looks do help get people to your page, I'm sure, but they're only going to stay.
But that's
if
not
you're
everybody, and I don't want to, I don't want to paint and say that all the females that are doing that are that, but they're not.
No, they're not, and we just have to. I think the most important
looks
thing
are subjective too. Looks are subjective. It's a subjective thing. So
yeah, exactly. I think the thing I'm trying to get at though is if the industry wants more women in the industry, they're going to have to give us a break. They're going to have to.
You're going to treat them serious.
Yeah, you got to respect, and you got to put the respect out there. You have to take us seriously, and you have to not assume everything is always about looks, because it might not be, right? Take a look at what they're saying, the words that are coming out of their mouth, how they speak, their character, that is more important than anybody's face.
Yeah. Exactly. And you are doing that, and you're doing a great job. And I personally appreciate what you are doing for our industry, for the 2A community. It's remarkable. And with this retreat that you got coming up, again, give everybody where they can go and get information on the Red Letter Project.
So Red Letter Project, if you're interested in a huge weekend full of other women and learning how to shoot, learning how to do med stuff, all that, go to the website. It's www.theredletterproject.com. You can find some information there, so you can see on the homepage, we got a little bit of information about our values and everything. Then under the RLP May 2022, you'll find course information, the main graphic, cost, location, things like that.
Things you'll need for the class. Yeah.
Things you'll need to know. We got some instructor bios of the people that will be teaching there. Some FAQs, and then of course we got our partners. Real quick too, as far as partners go, myself, Sharpshooters, Sawmill, Strategic Dynamics, and DG Diverse Visuals, we're all partnering together to do this. If you have any questions, contact us on that page. And same for sponsors as well. If you want to sponsor the event and you have some stuff to contribute, we'd love to have you.
Very cool. So there you go. And then of course your Instagram. How can people find you on Instagram?
Yeah, so my Instagram is at Maddy Dawg _training, and it's MADDY. And then we also recently opened up a Red Letter Project account as well. So you can see in my bio, there's a Red Letter Project account, some information there. And then, just feel free to shoot me a DM or shoot me an email.
And then do you have a website also?
So website is just the Red Letter Project. And I think you had asked me earlier about if I was doing any YouTube stuff.
Yeah, YouTube. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, at the time being, I'm not doing YouTube because I'm focusing on making sure this project goes according to plan. However, eventually I do want to do some sort of podcast. So you might see that one day. Not quite sure, though. That's a phase 2 kind of thing. So
I think you should talk with me, and maybe we should just do a monthly segment or something like that.
Hey, I'd be good with that, too.
Maybe let's talk. We could work something out on that, definitely. But, yeah, so, guys, go check out Maddy Scholar, Maddy Dawg Training. She's down in the Georgia area. You can find her hanging out, slumming at the Sharpshooters.
Yep.
Which I haven't been there. I need to go next time I'm down that way and check it out, definitely. But it sounds like it's a great facility, great range, great people that run it. So if you guys are down in the Georgia area, you're going to be down that way, Sharpshooters, check them out. And that's the right website there, right?
Yep, that's the right website.
Okay, very good. Maddy, thank you so much for taking the time to be on. I know you're headed to do some training. You're improving yourself, always, like you say, always learning there. So you're headed to a thing right now. You'll want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, so actually, like right after we get out off this call, I'm gonna go pack up the truck and drive to Louisiana for a 4-day Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu / shooting class. Me and a few of my friends that are also females are gonna go. That sounded super weird, but like a few of my girlfriends are going down there to have like kind of a girls' weekend and train a little bit. So I think it'll be really fun. But we'll probably post some content about it this weekend.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very good. And we're gonna have Maddy back on soon, because she's got a lot to talk. Maybe we'll work out that segment between now and next time. But until then, make sure you go and support all those that make this show possible. Mission First Tactical. You go to missionfirsttactical.com. Use the code LEADHEAD. You're going to get 20% off at Mission First Tactical. The dump trays that they make there. So I think we talked about this last time. We got these dump trays that they make that are great for just at the end of the day throwing all your ammo, your guns, and so you're not scratching up your tables. But I use them for gunsmithing. So when I'm out working on my guns, I put all the parts in there. The chemicals, it's resistant to the cleaning chemicals and whatnot. And especially the ones I use, because I use SEAL 1, and they're all bio-friendly. SEAL 1, CLP, green engineered, made in the USA, SEAL 1. Check it out. Did we get you some of this last time? You're supposed to be getting some of this. So if yours hasn't arrived, we'll get you some, Maddy.
Yeah.
Dwight will definitely hook you up. SEAL1.com. It's not .net. It's .com. You go there, use the code LEADHEAD. You get 25% off. They've got these awesome kits that will have the cleaning cloth, the brush. It's got 3 different kinds of delivery for their product. So it's got the paste, it's got the liquid, and this has the pre-soaked bore patches in it as well. And you can get those for specific calibers. Just designate which caliber you want when you go on their website. And then they sell all this stuff separately as well. So seal1.com, use the code LEADHEAD, 25% off. And then Keltec Weapons is a sponsor of the show, and they've been a sponsor for many years. We were going to be going to their booth at for NRA, but we're not going to be. Some things happened. They're not going to be able to host us at NRA. So we're looking for a new sponsor. So if anybody's listening and they want to host the lead quarters at NRA, but they did, to make up for it, offer a discount code to you lead heads. And it's good on their shop. So you go to Keltec's website, anything in their shop, no guns. It's not good for guns because they don't sell firearms on their website. But if you use the code LEADHEAD, you're going to get 15% off. They've got cases, they've got shirts, they've got hats, they got flashlights. They used to have knives. I don't know if they still have knives or not. But they got all kinds of cool gear in their pro shop. So go to KeltecWeapons.com, use the code LEADHEAD. You're going to get 15% off anything there at Keltec. I know they were advertising some sort of new case that they've got that's perfect for their Sub-2000s, the Keltec Sub-2000s. Are you familiar with those, Maddy? The Sub-2000s? They're the ones that fold.
I've heard them. Yeah, the little ones that fold, they're so cool.
Yeah, the little 9mm carbines, yeah. Perfect for those. And a couple of their other guns they said it's specific for. But go check them out. And then on our last AK Corner, Curtis Hallstrom with the VSO Gun Channel offered a discount to you lead heads at vsordnance.com. And he has his own line of AR-15s that he's made there. And if you use the code LEADHEAD, you can get 10% off his rifles. It's vsordnance, ordnance.com. Use the code LEADHEAD, and you're going to get 10% off there. And I think they're already reasonably priced, so you're going to get an additional 10% off the VSO ARs there. And I think that's everybody. Medicine in Bad Places. Medicine in Bad Places last episode also initiated a discount code for you lead heads. So if you want to go start building your IFAKs or get one that's pre-made, anything on their web store, Leadhead, 20% off at Medicine in Bad Places. So there you go. Taking care of you lead heads. Our listeners, the lead heads, don't get it any better. I didn't give anything away this episode. I normally give something away, but we will be giving more away in the upcoming episodes. Of course, the AK Corner coming up the 15th of this month. We're going to be talking about I think the lineup right now is furniture, like stocks, muzzle brakes, and triggers. I think that's what we're going to be talking about, AK specific. And then we'll probably be touch on some of this Ukraine stuff that's going on too. Some of the weapons and things that are being used over there in Ukraine. So that's coming up. But until then, as always, lead heads, keep your loved ones close.
And your firearms closer, and apply for the Red Letter Project.
Sweet. I like it.